And we're live. Okay, so hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday night live with Carnivore Talk and all of our carnivore friends. Starting off the bat here, we have Jeff and Rockin' Keto Amy. And of course, you too can join us on screen. All you have to do is click the link. Where can you find the link? Well, you can always find it over at carnivoretalk.com in our private members only section. That's free to register and participate over there. You can also find it in the chat because I'm about to post it right now. And here it comes. Whether you're on X, YouTube, or Facebook, you should see that link now in the stream. I'll pin it in a moment. And you're more than welcome to join us on screen. And we're going to talk about carnivore. We're going to talk about how it benefits us, and our experiences with it. We're going to also bounce back and forth with those of you that are in the chat. We already have 18 over here now. That's great. And we'll certainly see more to come. And we'll also answer any questions you may have. So go ahead and ask those in the chat. You can make them stand out by putting a couple capital Q's in front of it. So we'll try and see it and try and get to it, in a nice, speedy fashion. Because we do have a tendency to kind of get carried away in discussion and we get a little behind on the chat. We do try to address every single chat that seems to be relevant to our discussion. And so please be patient, stick around to the end. We really appreciate it. So we're glad you're here. And we're glad you're here, Jeff, and we're glad you're here, Amy. How is everybody doing this week?
Pretty good. Running ragged. Thank goodness for carnivore.
I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yes, just getting over a little bit of a head cold, but honestly, I feel like this is my first head cold since being carnivore. So, what I think would normally knock me out for a couple weeks, I felt better after just a few days. So that's interesting.
Awesome. Good to hear it. Yeah, I saw your posts over on YouTube and you looked like you were suffering pretty bad for about a day, and then some residual recovery days too. But yeah, that's good. I seem to not get sick anymore that often, so that's one thing that I've noticed. And then when I do seem to, I'll catch it for a day, maybe two, and then I snap out of it real quick. So, and Jeff, you're still in the midst of moving, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm hot and heavy in it right now.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't closed yet, but we close next Monday on the 20th. We wanted to close on the 14th, but we can't do it until the 20th because my wife's out of town this week. But in the meantime, they're still giving us permission to start moving stuff down there. And so it's a hour and a half away from here. So it's an hour and a half, one way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to get a load down there, every day, at least one load, sometimes two. Like I've said in the past, we're not moving a household, we're moving a whole farm. So it takes, flatbed trailers and lots of equipment. And I gotta move a bunch of stuff. So, and I haven't even moved the heavy stuff yet. I'll probably be doing that next weekend.
All right. Well, I envy you and I don't envy you. So I
hate it.
I would like to move. And I know where I think I would like to move. But at the same time, I hate moving with a passion.
Yeah.
So I don't move very often.
No, I don't either. The last time I moved, it was the same story. We moved from Springtown to Weatherford, and it fortunately we were able to take our time. We had the luxury to take our time, so we were able to take like 3 months to move. But it was only about a 15 mile move, so it wasn't that bad, and we could do a little bit at a time. This one here, right now, we're still on a slow pace. We don't have to rush it, but it's just a long drive down there. It's an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half back.
All right, let me mute this phone so we don't hear that tone all night long. All right. Okay, well, Glad to see you both doing so well. I was sharing with Jeff just a little bit before we went live an interesting study I found that was new to me, and I'm going to bring this up on the screen for a minute because I think it's really cool, and we'll talk about that. But first, let's go over to the chat and say hi to some of our viewers here. Before we even got started, this was 7:06. This is an hour before I just created the stream. So Sandy said, "See you soon." Yes. So if you're here now that we're live, it's good to see you. And we got Kitchen Witch is in the house, and so is Papa Carnivore. We would expect no less. Papa Carnivore is everywhere. And Rick says he just got out of the bathtub. And so I will assume we'll see Rick pop up on the screen here as soon as he dries off and throws some clothes over his bare skin there. All right.
Well, let's hope so.
We got No Slow and Latro. Hello from Austin. And
all right, fellow Texan, cool.
Yeah, fellow Texan.
Keeping Austin weird. Keeping Austin weird, I'm sure.
Yeah. I just over on Kilt's Mighty Tribe earlier today, they had a guest that was is it Laura or Lauren Hughes? I think she's in Austin also, I think she said. I'd have to look at it. And then even Stephen Barrett, glad you could join us, along with Broken Carnivore. And Papa Carnivore says he's a former big, tall, fat guy who's now skinny. And what was your secret? We know what your secret was, of course. So carnivore, a carnivore diet, eating all natural. Hello, Eleni. And we got Marine, and who's some new faces here? All for Jesus Carnivore from Oregon. Thank you for joining us.
Blessings to you.
And Don Schonger, glad you could be here. Linda Flanagan, and there's Kurt. He says, "Have a great live stream tonight." So yeah, and then we can indicate from that he's probably unable to join us on screen tonight, and that's okay. We hope you're doing well. All right. It's a cult, Peter. Wait a minute here. So I've heard this accusation before. Have you ever heard people say that carnivore is kind of like a cult? Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard it, and I can understand why people say it.
Right. So one, I'm like, I know people throw that word around in a negative way, but cult is just short for culture. And do we have our own culture?
Yes.
Absolutely. And but when they say it negatively, it's usually comes down to like either the overzealousness one might have in constantly maybe preaching about it, or just the whole like groupthink thing going on. And carnivore, I don't think that's a bad case. So actually, no matter when that word is thrown around, I think it's kind of a cheap pot shot.
Well, that's what it's meant to be.
Yeah,
it's exactly what it's meant to be.
It's like when everybody calls. You hear someone always calling someone a Nazi, or someone always calling someone Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on, come up with something original.
Right. It's just a shot. It's just a shot.
It's a pot shot. That's all.
But we sometimes kind of bring it on ourselves especially when we first become a carnivore, because I can't speak for anybody else, but I know for me, I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. I felt so great. It was so wonderful. 2 years later, it still feels wonderful. It still feels great, but I've learned nobody wants to hear my opinion.
Right.
I just shut up. I do my thing. I don't explain to the waiter, no, I only want meat. I don't explain why, this kind of thing. But, in the beginning, we're so exuberant about this that we tend to want to tell everybody. We want to spread the gospel of carnivore. And,
right.
Christians do the same thing when they first get saved. They have this exuberance. They want to get it out there. I get it. And, and I will still say, and this is where people can get the cultish idea, is is I will tell people this is not a diet. It is a way of life. It's a lifestyle. You know, this is what I do. This is what I am. I am a carnivore. So when I talk like that, I fully expect people to think, yeah, he's in a cult, you know, especially when they don't understand. You know, I remember I've you know, judged some churches or some religions as being a cult, and only to be proven wrong because I didn't understand them. I didn't understand what their doctrine was. Well, those that call us a cult don't understand us. So that's fine. Call me a cult. That's fine. You don't understand.
And
And
so,
maybe someday you will.
yeah. And so, you know, so you used a phrase that kind of really gets at the root of it. You said carnivore is a way of life. And I said cult is short for culture. And
Yep.
so those are basically, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So like, you know, when if you become a vegan and, you know, you quit processed food and you initially experience some benefits, because vegans will, you know, then they get obsessed with it and it becomes their way of life and they want to tell others about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when you become a Christian in whatever particular denomination, it's new to you. That becomes a way of life. It turns your life around. You want to tell others about it. The same thing happens with carnivore. So, and so, yeah, that's, you know, so then if you're on the outside and you don't understand it, then that's usually the black label you want to slap on individuals who are just that bubbling over with their zeal, trying to
Right.
tell you how excited they are, you know? So yeah, I'm not, that word never insults me in any aspect of life. I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know? So, all righty. So Granny Boo, how are you? Glad you could join us. And let's see here. Papa Carnivore is loving the cult. All right. Maureen is watching dinner while she watches. Tell us what you're eating in the comments and make us all very, very, very hungry. So I just ate before I came on. So Meathead says he has a busy August and so he won't be around. That's okay. I understand. We all get busy from time to time. And you did tell us why you will be busy. So that's okay. You do what you got to do and take care of business. All right. Let's see here. Not sure I'd expend the energy to move a few hours away. You know, that's an interesting comment. Like, I'm in Ohio and I entertain the idea of going to North Carolina. So like, and if I'm going to move, I'm going to make it a big move and I'm only going to do it one more time. I'll probably die here, but you know, I still entertain the idea.
Well, I don't want to expend the energy. I'm as lazy as the next guy, trust me. But when you get crowded out, when you have to live a certain way, when you feel like you need to live a certain way, which for me, I need my space. I need to be separate from everybody. And you know, every place I've lived, I've always had ranches around me. I've always had big open spaces around me, and I've always been able to live outside of city limits. I will not live inside city limits. I will not live in an HOA. And so I'm country boy. I got to live in the country. Well, when I start losing the country all around me, and they start building subdivisions around me, it's time to go. I got to get out. I can't live like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I found me a nice little town that I've been through numerous times, and found me a piece of land down there with a house on it, an old place, and I can make it my own. And it's isolated. It's an island. Nobody can encroach on me. And that town, from its inception till now, has never had more than 1,400 people in it. And right now, it's at 1,300 population. That's the place that's where I need to live. And so, yeah, it's worth it, you know. And every time I drive into town here in Weatherford, and I'm thinking, am I making the right decision to leave? And then I drive into town. Oh yeah. As soon as I hit traffic, it tells me I'm doing the right thing. it's worth getting out of here. So I'll expend the energy.
Mhm.
You just got to want something bad enough to be willing to expend that energy.
Maureen here says that she moved her whole farm in June. It was crazy hard. So it sounds like she can relate to what
Oh yeah,
you're
baby.
currently going through right now, there, Jeff.
This is the second time I've moved my farm, and it's not fun. It's a lot of work. And then once you get it moved, you gotta rebuild everything. You know, it's not just putting it down there. You gotta rebuild everything. You know, so I gotta get my rope and reining back up, and I gotta, I got a barn I gotta finish out. You know, by winter time, get everything in the dry. You know, gotta build a new chicken coop, everything. So I got a ton of work to do once I get down there.
All right. Kelly, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm
All right.
getting cooled off now, but better. My AC just froze up and I had to get it thawed out and recharged it.
Okay. How hot is it out there where you're at?
Right now, it's not too bad. It's in the upper 80s, but I think it's like a wave 90s, 100, back to the 80s. I think it's supposed to cool off this weekend, so it varies.
80s is a cool front for us.
Yeah, where were you again, if I may ask?
Me? I am in Missouri.
Missouri. Okay.
Probably 2 hours from the Iowa line, probably 2 hours from Kansas City, 2 hours from St. Louis.
Well, y'all have had your share of some hot weather, some hot humid weather up there here lately.
Oh yes, we did. We had quite a bit. Then we had a nice cool off, so that's a good plus.
All right. Well, glad you could join us this evening here on screen. Remember, anybody else who's watching, we got room for 10 people. And so right now we got 6 empty seats here at the round table. So if you want to join us and you got a webcam and a microphone, a little bit of courage. Most of all of us have that even right on our cell phones. You know, Jeff's using a cell phone, right? Because you got a vertical screen today, so he's on his phone.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can do phone, you can do laptop, you know, you can do tablet, you know, come on, say hi and talk to us with your voice, you know. But in the meantime, we want to say hi to Bride's Biscuit and Sandy makes a good point. Please hit the like button, thumbs up this video. I would really appreciate that and I really appreciate you saying that because you know what? I always forget to ask of everyone to hit that like button. I don't even think to ask. So I'm glad you bring that up. This is interesting. I just heard on the news that 1 in 8 people in the US are either on a GLP-1, have been on one, or know someone on a GLP-1. How sad is that?
It's terribly sad.
Wow.
That's it. That's interesting. I saw a cartoon the other day that showed like a line. It was 2 booths. One line said steak and eggs, and nobody was in line. And the other line said Ozempic, and it had a line all the way down and around the block, you know. So it's weird how people think. And we're the cult.
Yeah. You know, I've talked to people that have asked about going on that, you know, and I haven't convinced anybody to not go on it yet. They don't, they ask and they ask for opinions and whatnot. And what do you think about it and everything? And do you think it's safe and all this? And you can give all the opinions you want. You give them all the facts and data that you want, but their mind's already made up. They're wanting justification is what they're wanting. They're not wanting you to disagree with them. But anyways, you don't know what those are going to do to you long term. There's no long-term studies on that stuff. They have no idea. Down the road, there's going to be some messed up people. It's going to be hurting them. It's going to be hurting them bad. And the thing is, they're not going to have any recourse, you know, because they willingly did this and nobody's forcing them to do it. And they can never get off of it. Never. Every single person I've ever known that has been on that lost their weight, and did okay. It didn't affect them physically, as far as they know. We'll know further on down the road. But every one of them, as soon as they get off it, what do? They didn't learn to eat right. They had a drug that paralyzed their stomach, and so they just didn't eat. They were in a calorie deficit instead of eating good, healthy food. And as soon as they quit that, they're still eating their Doritos, they're still eating their cupcakes, they're still eating their pancakes, and they put the weight right back on. And so they have to be on it for the rest of their lives. And there's no way the body can sustain that. No way.
Well, not to mention the other thing too is I went for an ultrasound test on Friday, and my lab technician, we were talking about stuff while I was going through this, and I mentioned I lost 110 pounds, and she goes, "Oh, really? How'd you do that?" And I said, keto carnivore diet, and she goes, "Yeah, I tried that and just couldn't do it." And then she's like, "Well, I'm on Ozempic now." And I was just listening to her. I wasn't gonna, pass any judgment or anything, but
No.
she was like, I'm like, "How is that going for you?" And she goes, "Well, it was going good until my insurance decided to stop covering it." So she said she had to go off Ozempic, and now she's using some weird, like, under the table brand that she gets probably from some company over the internet, and it's still several $100s a month. But yeah, when their insurance, I've heard so many people go on Ozempic or these other GLP-1s through their insurance, and then after a year, the insurance pulls the rug out from underneath them, and then all of a sudden they're like, you got to pay, $1,500, $2,000 a month, and then they have to stop just from that financial reason.
Yeah, and so if someone wanted to use Ozempic to get themselves started, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The problem is, and this is why the insurance wants to cut it off. Some of these people think they're going to take it for life, like every other drug. I mean, the point of drugs is it's supposed to be temporary. So the problem with this Ozempic is so if you want to take it to get started, suppress your appetite or whatnot, that's fine, but you got to learn to eat right. So you got to start eating a whole foods diet, keto, carnivore, low carb, paleo, something, and you have to tell yourself, this is the way I'm going to eat for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And get off the Ozempic, because if you don't, you get off the Ozempic and you're just going to blow right back up again,
And they're saying the people have been on it for 2 years. And Dr. Sean Baker has talked about this too. People have been on it for 2 years. Guess what happens after 2 years? It stops working. Your body becomes tolerant to it, and you no longer can lose weight or meet goals. People have talked about this, that have been on it, for 2 years now. It stops working. And then when you go off of it because it's not working anymore, guess what happens? You gain the weight.
You eat everything in sight.
Exactly. Well, and these people that say, well, I tried carnivore, it didn't work for me. No, it worked just fine for you. You didn't work for you because it's all up here. It's your mindset. You have to want it bad enough. That's all there is to it. If you don't want it bad enough, then you're going to either have to stay the way you are or go on a drug that's probably going to kill you someday. And if it doesn't kill you, darn sure will mess you up.
That's why I said I vowed never to touch grains or refined sugar again. And I'm a religious person, so I take vows seriously. That's the way I had to that's what I had to say to myself. I'm vowing never to eat grains and refined sugar ever again. And or if you don't want to do that, you said it's all up here. So how about this? Pretend for the next 3 months that you are an Inuit. Pretend that you live in the Arctic and there's not a single piece of vegetarian to be found for miles, and just go eat animal products. Sure, pretend it's up here. It is up here. Yes, pretend. Tell yourself this. But yeah, that's what a lot of it is, the mental hurdle. And when I switched from the standard American diet to low carb, I could never do that like in a snap of a finger. I had to spend months talking myself into man, I really need to lose some weight. I think I'm going to start dieting soon. I think I'll start dieting, next month. Maybe I'll start this coming Monday, and whenever I got in the mood to lose weight, it still took me like 2 months to actually get off my keister and do it, and that's the food addiction. That's the food addiction calling, but once I had to state it in the terms of vows. I had to make resolutions, commitments, goals, and hey, this is what I'm going to do, period. Once I did that up here, then I was able to find success on my health journey, which included low carb keto, and then eventually ended up in carnivore.
Well, I got to admit, in my case, I'm really one of the lucky ones because, my motivation was out of desperation, because my health was killing me. And the beginning of wisdom is fearing the Lord, and the beginning of carnivore was fear of death, because I felt like that's all I was going to do. I was just waiting to die. And so I joined out of desperation. And what that did for me was make it easier for me. It gave me that proper mindset that I had a reason to live. And so I understand when somebody is coming to this and they have mild issues or they just want to lose weight. I didn't care about losing weight. I mean, I was obese, but I wasn't that bad. I was only 227 pounds. But the fat had nothing to do with it for me. So those coming to it that I just want to lose some weight, or I don't always feel good, I want more energy, whatever. Those people have a harder time of it. Have a harder time getting that mindset because they don't have the desperation that some of us had, to try to live.
Mm-hmm. I want to say hi to Grammy G and Harmon442. And I wanted to highlight this one. Darth Carnivore says that he's launching his first YouTube video this Thursday. And so I think I'm the only one that can actually post a clickable link in the chat. So I'm going to do that just right now. I went and looked it up. So I'm way up in the chat. But if you go all the way down to the most recent chat, I'm going to hit enter right now. And
he needs 50 subscribers to be able to live stream. He has 30. So if everybody can go and subscribe to his channel, that would be helpful for him.
Awesome. So there's the link. I just pasted the link. Go subscribe to Darth Carnivore and tune in for his first video on Thursday. Let's help him get him to 50 subscribers so you can start live streaming on the platform himself. Papa Carnivore says, good luck, Charlie. That is Darth Carnivore, by the way. And then Miss Laugh-A-Lot says, hello, good to have you here. All for Jesus Carnivore. She throws in her support. So does Sandy. So, okay, good stuff. Carnivore is a tribe. Welcome to the tribe. Yes. Yes. Tribe, culture, cult. It's all the same thing. Here we go. Does this carnivore meat cult have special discounts on fatty meat? If so, how does one join? Asking for a friend.
No.
No, I wish. However, if you haven't committed to this yet, you will find that if you adopt a carnivore diet, your grocery bill goes down. So, and there's a reason why. So people think, meat's more expensive. Yeah, it is at restaurants. Don't cook at home. And but you can get, and you don't always have to get expensive steaks all the time. You can get cheap cuts of meat. You can get ground beef. It's pretty inexpensive, especially at your wholesale clubs. Although we do recommend you support your local rancher. But what you're not buying is chips, cereal, ketchup, and mayonnaise, and dressings, and marinades, and lettuce and tomato, and all the little side vegetables, and all that stuff adds up. It's actually amazing. Yeah. How much your grocery bill goes down when you adopt a carnivore or very keto friendly, carnivore centric diet.
Another big plus on that is you spend less time in that grocery store. You're in and out. You know what you're after. You go in there, you get it, and you don't have much in your basket. You get on out.
Right.
But
you're not tempted by anything in the middle of the store because you don't even go there.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is I'll go to Costco and I'll buy a whole rib roast. I'll buy the choice. I don't buy the expensive ones. Buy a whole rib roast. Yeah, I'll spend $200 on that. And that seems like a lot, but I'm getting 50, anywhere from 12 to 15 1-pound ribeye steaks out of it. That will last me for a couple of weeks, and I'm only paying 8 something a pound for those, individual steaks. So that's pretty doggone good. It's hard to beat that.
Here's some good comments here. Vegans are suffering from an illusion of knowledge.
True.
And yeah, and now I've got friends that are vegan. If they want to be vegan, that's fine. In this day and age, a vegan diet is a doable diet because of modern technology and supplements. But I can't do it because I still go back to like, okay, if it wasn't for modern technology and supplementation, it would be unsustainable, So
Yeah.
some plant-based eaters will like to say, oh, this person's became a vegan when they were 15 and now they're 85. Plants haven't killed them yet. No, that's true, but they got to pop pills. They got to pop supplements, or they got to eat this much food every day, from a variety of different sources that you would have never come across, thousands of years ago. You would have never been subject to that kind of environment. So it wouldn't have been possible. So that's why I look at it as veganism is unnatural. Yes, Amy.
Okay, Papa Carnivore is asking you to post a link for the stream into the chat.
Oh, yeah. I said I was going to pin it, didn't I? Tom told me how to pin it last week. Let me figure it out here. Okay,
you just click the 3 dots, I think. 3 dots, and then choose pin.
Okay, so here's the link to join us on screen. And let me scroll down. Oh, I have a separate chat window open. And 3 dots. Pin. There we go. I'm so glad you guys have told me that, because I used to share that every 30 minutes. I would try and do the pitch again and post the link. All right. Well, you waste no time. How you doing, Papa Carnivore?
Good.
Good.
That was interesting when they were talking about carnivore as a cult. Kerry did a big video on that. I don't know if you guys remember that. Do you remember?
Oh, several months ago, yeah.
Yeah, and he got all this like vicious hate, stuff, and oh my God, he got so many. It was incredible, but I wear it as a badge of honor. I mean, I think, you know what? Not everybody can do what we do.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
There's people who are interested in it. They try it. Like Mitch says, 99% of people, they can't do it. They can't do it. Even the people that want it, well, most people would think we're crazy, and, but even the ones who do try it, how many of them actually make it past a week? I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
They make it past a week.
Yeah, not many. Yeah. So yeah, it's a badge of honor too. That's why.
Well,
I mean, every time that word is thrown at me for whatever reason, I'm just kind of like, okay, if that's what you want to call it. I'm like, I have zero offense. Like, it means nothing to me. So.
Well,
yeah,
and I think it depends on where people are coming from too. Like, I have had zero issues having been ketovore for 7 years. There's no keto flu. There's no
right.
I don't feel like I've even after 30 days started oxalate dumping, unless it's cold was oxalate dumping. I don't know. Maybe that was a thing that I got. But when I started keto 7 years ago, I was homicidal. Watch out. Like, if you were in my path the first 14 days, I felt like I had such terrible carb withdrawal. I was going to attack somebody or do something just to get a carb,
Well, I did keto too.
I'm wondering if the people who quit, it's because they're going through withdrawal or keto flu.
Well, what is it? Bart Case always says, do it gradually. do not change your microbiome. I mean, there's some people who they're all or nothing people, and they're going to do, they're going to go straight in.
That's me.
And, that's fine, but for a lot of people, it's probably a little easier on the gut microbiome. Like, I didn't get any keto flu, Amy, like when I went keto first. And I kind of went dirty keto first. Then I did clean keto. Then I kind of went ketovore. And I kept feeling better as I started like pulling stuff out and getting cleaner. I kept feeling better. Right, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm a jump in with both feet kind of guy, rip the Band-Aid off. I have to, I'm not a moderator. For those that can moderate, man, y'all got 2 thumbs up for me, because you can ease into it. I'm not. If I try easing into it, I'll end up failing. So I have to jump in with the mindset, I'm going to win, I'm going to fail, nothing's going to stop me, and that's how I do it. But where a lot of people, in my opinion, what I've discovered, mess up when they get started in carnivore is they come into it totally blind and ignorant. They hear eat meat, so they eat meat. They don't know what meat to eat. They don't know the proportions. They don't realize that this is not a high protein diet. It's a high fat diet, and they don't understand that. So when I coach and counsel people, the first thing I do is I direct them towards Sean Baker's book, The Carnivore Diet, because it explains in good, easy, understandable language how to do the diet and why to do it, the whys and whereofs of it. And if you come into it with a knowledge of what to expect, then when you are hit with things like the keto flu, you understand where it's coming from and the reasons why. And that's what I dealt with. Yeah, I got hit with it when I first came in, but I had already done my research and I knew what to expect. So it didn't surprise me. And I also knew what to do to deal with it. And so if people would just please educate yourselves before you just willy-nilly jump into it, you'd be a lot better off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had to ease in, like I said, I had to mentally talk myself into it for a while. Then I started with low carb, with the low carb tortillas and the low carb bread. And I had my veggies. It was very plant-based low carb, and then I went keto and cut out. And then when I went pure keto, like we call it Dr. Berry keto, because that was my influence,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that for a while. And then I finally worked my way to carnivore. And I still experienced some transition symptoms though when I went from keto to carnivore. So, but maybe they could have been worse. And but you're right, the keto flu doesn't have to be a thing. If you have the willpower to make your transition gradual, you can avoid a lot of those symptoms. So,
Hey, Bob, before I forget, you've had your chronic kidney disease, right? That you've been having for many, for a while. I don't know if you saw a couple days ago, Kiltsy had on somebody, I think it was Kiltsy, on the morning show, and they were talking about that and how the EGFR test is not really a great measurement if you've been a carnivore a long time, because you're eating so much meat, you got so much creatine that you've got in your system. There's a much better test. It's called like a
Statin C. Yep.
Yeah. Have you had that done? I'm just curious.
Yeah. In fact, one of my most popular videos is called chronic kidney disease in the carnivore diet. So
and how did that come out compared to your EGFR test?
Yeah, and so that's what happened. Is so I've been stage 4
right
since at least 2019.
Right.
And when I got diagnosed, my EGFR was 18.
Whoa.
And which I mean technically from what I read is stage 5, but my nephrologist called it stage 4.
Right.
Severe, because it was stage 4 severe.
Right.
And And then I was spilling a lot of protein in my urine. So he told me that he wanted me to eat more protein to make up for what I was losing. So that's when I first started. I went on a low carb diet. And he also said if I took off weight. So I took off weight. That was in 2021. And my EGFR my creatinine started to go down. My EGFR started to improve.
Yeah.
And I was happy about it. I got it up to like 22. Then I backslid, gained all my weight back. And then my EGFR started going down again. My creatinine started going up again. So I decided to get back in shape. And that's when I switched to carnivore. But then when I switched to carnivore, my EGFR continued to plummet. My creatinine continued to skyrocket. My EGFR continued to plummet. My primary care physician was flipping out. But my nephrologist, he ran all these other tests and said, this might be going down, but we've got these other markers that are showing slight improvements.
Right.
And so we did a cystatin C, and the cystatin C, when we did the cystatin C, my EGFR that was down to 15 with creatinine, but with a cystatin C, it measured 23.
Okay.
And then I had this. So I'm not really worried about creatinine, because I know I'm gonna make more protein waste from eating meat,
Right.
and my kidneys aren't gonna filter out as fast, so it backs up in my blood a little bit. It's harmless.
Yeah.
And so for me, the EGFR via creatinine is not a reliable test.
It's not. I heard that really cystatin C is really the way to go, and I think if you stay clean. How long have you been doing the clean carnivore? Like real clean?
About 2 years.
High fat carnivore.
About 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I deviate, eat off plan once a month, once every other 2 weeks or something like that, but I'm mostly carnivore, mostly pure carnivore.
Right.
And I still drink colored beverages like this.
What is that?
That's a Diet Mountain Dew. So,
man,
yeah.
I would get off all those artificial sweeteners, man.
Yeah. And
they're
then,
not good. They're not good for your kidneys. I'm telling you right now. Get off them. Yeah.
Hi, Lewis.
Guys, how's it going?
If you can.
Your microphone is whack.
Your mic.
You sounded like a robot. And then I can hear my voice coming back through like a robot.
Is it better now?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, Papa Carnivore. So yeah. So that's true. So now, also, my kidney damage comes from pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
So it's not like I didn't have like diabetic kidney disease.
Mm-hmm.
If that was the case, I think I would have reversed it, because I've seen a lot of carnivores reverse they've gone from stage 4 to stage 3, some to stage 3 back to stage 1, and I've remained a steady stage 4, and that's because I was on a drug for ulcerative colitis, and for over a decade, and they never checked my blood work or anything. So then until they did, and then they were like, "Yo, you got kidney problems."
Yeah.
And I did some research on that drug, and it says that drug is known to cause irreversible kidney damage.
Wow.
So that's what torched my kidneys. So will I ever regain a measure of kidney function? A measure, yeah, a small measure.
So Bob, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Try your best to get off of the artificial sweeteners and see if that does anything to help you.
Yeah, I don't think the artificial sweeteners is a problem. I do think the caffeine might be a problem, because the caffeine, I still struggle with high blood pressure, and caffeine is known to raise your blood pressure, so I'd like to cut the caffeine for sure. And so yeah, no, that would be ideal. So I do, but I still have those once in a while. So
I mean, they have those flavored sparkling waters, like you can get, what is it called? What's the brand, the big brand that everyone gets?
Oh, there's like LaCroix and bubbly and stuff like that.
Waterloo,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you can switch off to that for a while, just to try and see if that helps your kidney function. And then I do think caffeine is, if that's keeping your blood pressure high, if you could get off of that or cut it way back, cut it way back.
It could be a contributor. So,
Yeah.
so what happened also when I lost a lot of weight because of my
Yeah.
kidney disease, my triglycerides went through the roof. And
Wow.
I made a video on that too. That's also
Yeah.
my second popular video.
That's when I first found you with that video.
And so my doctor, my primary care physician, prescribed me a drug called fenofibrate, and I went ahead and took it because the carnivore doctors will say that a better indicator of risk for cardiac disease is your triglyceride to HDL ratio, which should be less than 2.
Mm-hmm.
I had an HDL of 16 and my triglycerides were up to 2,887.
What?
Yeah. So like, I was
Wow.
like, I thought I'm a walking heart attack, and my PCP flipped out. I was flipping out. He put me on this fenofibrate, and it did bring my trigs down. But then that also put me deep into stage 5. My EGFR dropped down to 8. My phosphorus went through the roof. My blood pressure skyrocketed. So that ended up doing more kidney damage. So unfortunately, I undid a lot of the healing I experienced. And now I'm trying to regain the ground that I lost. And I'm not back to where I was before I started the fenofibrate. But my EGFR has gone from 8 to 13. And it was 12 the other day, but I'm not worried about a point. That's with the creatinine. My phosphorus, which was up at 9.5, and it was so high, I scratched the hair off the bottom of my legs. I was itching so bad. That's down into the 6s. And I'm no longer itching everywhere. And then my statin C, which had fallen from a 23 down to 16, which really had me scared, has actually gone up to 24. And this is that's the best statin C I've seen yet.
Wow.
So if you look at EGFR with creatinine, I should be dead or on dialysis.
Yeah, you can't.
But if you look at it on cystatin C, I'm still stage 4 and I'm showing improvements. It really goes by how you feel, and I feel great on my carnivore diet. And
well, there was a guy.
I would not know I had kidney disease if it wasn't for these blood labs.
Well, the guy that was on Kiltsy, Bob, he was down to like 60 on the EGFR, and they were like, "Oh, you're in stage 2 kidney failure," and all this. He had a cystatin C. It came in at 113.
Right, so he's fine.
And it's like stellar. So
right.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I would go more by that. I think I would look more at that because all that creatinine, from eating all the meat is interfering with that EGFR.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So so if you eat a standard American diet or a vegetarian diet, and you can use the creatinine as a marker, yeah. But if you're on a carnivore diet, or if you work out, that's the other thing too, is you get these guys that hit the gym, and they pump iron for hours a day, and they take creatine and they take protein supplements, and then they get their blood labs drawn, and their doctor says, "Oh, you've got chronic kidney disease." They don't. It's just that they're pumping so much protein into their system, their kidneys can't keep up, So, and, my PCP, wants me to eat oats for a living, become a vegetarian. And I'm like, well, yeah, if I do that, sure, my EGFR would go up. If I eat that's why that myth exists. At least I think it's a myth, and I'm willing to gamble on my own kidneys to prove it. I think it's a myth that you shouldn't eat protein even if you have kidney disease. And I think what happens is if you go vegetarian, you're not eating as much protein, you're not producing as much waste, your creatinine goes down, and in turn your EGFR goes up, and doctors will be like, "Oh, look how much better you're doing." Nothing could have happened to their kidneys at all. What happened is they're not consuming as much protein as they were. And I think that's where that myth about not eating protein or protein's bad for your kidneys, I think that's where that stems from, is people don't realize the impact protein consumption can have on your creatinine levels. So yeah, no, you're spot on, Papa Carnivore. What you heard from whoever the guest was the other day, that's absolutely accurate. A cystatin C, if you're on a carnivore diet, a cystatin C is if your creatinine and calculates an EGFR that makes you nervous, just double check it with a statin C, and also do a creatinine.
I have a question.
Protein test in your urine. So test your urine. If you're not leaking anything out of your urine, you're probably fine. Yes, Amy.
I have a question about the protein myth, because I go around, I hope she's not watching this, but I go round and round with my sister about this, who has kidney disease, and I don't know if it's been staged. She hasn't told me that, but she says, well, I can't have protein because I get kidney stones, and they tested my kidney stones, and it tested for purines or whatever it's called. It tested high, and they told me my kidney stone, the type of kidney stone I have, is caused by eating protein and meat. And I'm like, no. But I mean, I can't argue with her. I mean, her doctor told her that. So how do you argue that? It's PRURINES. Her kidney stone
Right.
was tested high for
Right.
purines, which is
Yeah.
in meat.
Most kidney stones are actually oxalate. They're oxalate. They're not purine.
Yep,
But
she
that
can't
is
eat
a
she
different.
can't eat plants.
Yeah, that's a different kind of kidney stone. But look, I'm no doctor, but I can tell you, people who eat lots of meat, carnivores, whatever stones they did have dissolve away and pass.
I don't know what she eats, because she can't have oxalates. She supposedly can't have meat. I mean, what is she eating? Cardboard? Like, is the only thing she
She's
can have
eating a
like
lot of
cardboard? I
plants.
mean,
Ask her. She's
she
eating a lot of
can't.
plants.
No, she's allergic to nightshades. She can't have the oxalates because of the kidney stones. So she can have salad. She can have some lettuce. So she can't have salad. And she's like, I'm just eating a little. So I think what she's eating is like sweet potatoes and rice and
Sweet potatoes are high in
salad and
oxalate. Sweet potatoes are very high in oxalates.
so she doesn't eat those. I'm not sure what she eats, but I mean, she tells me she can't have anything, essentially. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but try eating meat for 30 days against your doctor's advice. Although we can't give medical advice even to your own family members, but I'm like, just try it for 30 days. It's not going to kill you for 30 days. It's not going to kill you in 30 days.
What'd she say?
But she won't listen to me.
Yeah. So usually like 95% of kidney stones are calcium oxalate stones.
Yeah.
As was said. So that, it's going to be like, things like spinach, but, and then also the other operative word there is calcium. So it's like the combination of calcium and oxalate, so drink a lot of spinach or milk and, like a smoothie or something, that's bad news. How does protein come into play? Well, I guess to some extent, so protein can lower citrate in your blood, which helps bind calcium. So if you lower the citrate, then you have more calcium flowing around in your blood that could bind to the oxalate in your kidneys. And again, it all comes back to the oxalate calcium combination. So I think you can't go without protein. That's the other thing too. If she says I can't eat protein, she's going to shrivel up and die. You have to eat protein. That's an essential nutrient. How much she needs to get by, there's some fudge factor in there. That's individualistic. She probably certainly doesn't need to eat 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight or something like we try and calculate for ourselves. But she can't go no protein. And I think that's a lot of these kidney patients.
She's not. She's
are on a low
limiting.
protein diet.
She's limiting.
A lot of these kidney patients that go on a low protein diet, and I think they continue to get sicker and sicker because they're not getting the protein that they need. Mm-hmm. And ironically, once you go on dialysis, now they want you eating all kinds of protein. And that's because your kidneys are now replaced by a machine, so that now it doesn't matter. And again, so I'm willing to gamble with that. I've been eating I'm protein heavy, and I'm probably more protein heavy than I need to be, because keto is supposed to be moderate protein, high fat. So she could still moderate her protein and eat high fat, and have an animal-based diet and probably do just fine. I would think so. I just don't think the protein is really as big of a factor as it comes into play. I don't think it's that big of a factor as her doctor probably thinks it is. So, because there's no such thing as like a protein stone. You know, it's going to be some other kind of mineral.
That's what her doctor told her. And my mom has been in the hospital. She almost died of hyponatremia because her heart doctor told her not to have sodium, right? So she almost died from having too low of sodium.
Right.
And so she was in the hospital for over a week for that. And her kidney doctor, and I called them because I wanted to hear this myself. And I think my mom got kind of mad at me because, you know, HIPAA and everything. But I called them and I said, I want to know exactly what you're telling her because I take care of them. And her kidney doctor said she needs to be on a high protein diet. So her kidney doctor said, I believe the right thing, you know, eat as much protein as you can. Of course, she's also 80 and you need to increase your protein when you get older. But
Right.
I was very thrilled to hear that they said eat meat, you know, basically is what they're saying, eat meat.
Yeah. And so, you know, see, my PCP has mainstream thinking like, oh, protein is bad for your kidneys. So is meat. Be a vegetarian. You know, mine's after me about my cholesterol and all this stuff too. My nephrologist is like, I totally support your carnivore diet. You know, and I made the comment. I'm like, you know, especially when I was showing improvements every time I visited, and I'm like, doesn't the mainstream say to avoid protein, especially animal protein? And my nephrologist goes, hey, if this works, you know, like
Isn't
whatever
that
the mainstream
something?
says is kind of irrelevant, you know.
Isn't that something? So your PCP, your overall primary care doctor, knows just a little bit about everything, but not enough to be an expert. All right.
Right.
And he is saying, oh, you can't do this. But your specialist is loving what you're doing because he's seen the results, because he is the expert. He does understand. I encountered the exact same thing with my PCP. He can't stand, he loves what I've accomplished, but he can't stand the fact that I have high cholesterol, and he doesn't understand. He's not an expert at it. But my cardiologist absolutely loves everything I'm doing, you know? So he's not the least bit concerned about my cholesterol.
Yeah, mine tried to get me on a statin, and I said no. And he's like, well, I'm going to have to refer you to an endocrinologist. I'm like, okay, I'll go talk to him too. That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah. But it's just funny how the experts seem to go along with what we're doing because they see the results and they actually understand. And the PCPs, they don't know enough about anything to make a judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All for Jesus Carnivore says this cult, the Carnivore cult, by the way, don't get confused, you know, because of her username. She's talking about the Carnivore cult. The Carnivore cult helped me get rid of diabetes, arthritis, kidney stones, gallbladder problems, snoring, general aches and pains, sleeplessness, and lost 60 plus pounds.
Amen.
Awesome. Yep. Life changing. So, yeah, how can you not want to tell the world about that?
Exactly. Shout it from the rooftops.
That's right. Okay. When I lived in Florida, I learned AC real quick. Now in Texas, my truck AC needs work, and it's too damn hot to fix it. All right. That's right. We were talking about Kelly, you were talking about air conditioning.
Yeah.
Don, that's okay. That's how far back we are. We're 40 minutes. We're 40 minutes behind already. So I'll start skipping through some of these here. All right. And then I want to read this study that interests me a lot. I found out 2 of my cousins are on GLP-1s. I only have 10 cousins left, so 1/5 of my cousins. 20% of people's cousins are on GLPs. Did that match the statistic? The other statistic was like 1 in 8 or something? No. Let's see here. Carnivore Lifestyle Anthony says, let the stubborn people learn the hard way and let us carnivores, keto people enjoy this lifestyle. Yeah, you know, learning the hard way is actually kind of how a lot of us got here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, it was, you get to this point where it's like, I need to do something life-changing now.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to like the path I'm not going to like what's at the bottom of the path, the end of this path. You know, that was what was me. I was like, I got to turn my health around now and hope that it's not too late. Goat, lamb, pig are number one. GLP, goat, lamb, pig.
I disagree with that.
Oh,
I'll put buffalo ahead of all of them,
okay.
and elk.
Buffalo and elk.
Oh yeah.
I've had some elk. I've had both buffalo and elk. We can get it down. I can get it from a Meyer right across the street, but I can get it from my local rancher called Dumas as well. So spend your money on meat, butter, eggs, cream, and more eggs. He said that too, more eggs. Here's a good comment. And I think this is still related to the GLP-1. Also leads to muscle wasting. People aren't eating enough protein and nutrient-dense foods, so they end up losing muscle.
There you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely. That's another reason why when they stop taking it and they gain weight back and get bigger than before, because now they have a lower basal metabolic rate because they've lost so much muscle that they used to sit around and burn calories doing nothing.
I agree with that 100% because when I did keto, carnivore keto 4 years ago, I was taking a phentermine, which I lost weight, but I believe that over time that my body got immune to it. And also, I think it also was a key factor why I have this, besides the oxalate foods, also, I believe that was also affected my arthritis and the issues in the hip and my muscles in that area is weak.
Mm-hmm.
I think the muscle loss really comes down to people aren't eating enough, like you said, Bob, and eating enough protein. And it happens with any type of drastic weight loss, even with like weight loss surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But the GLP-1s like basically mimic that. People don't eat. And when they do, they get filled instantly. So definitely have to make, and it's because the doses that people take are so high. Really got to be able to still be able to eat plenty of protein. It's, and no one tells them that. It sucks.
Right, and that's one of the benefits of carnivore is you're certainly not going to be missing out on your protein. So
Yeah.
even if you're one of those that practice fasting, which fasting I do it once in a while, it doesn't excite me, so I kind of don't care. As soon as you get off that fast, though, what are you going to have? Steak, eggs. I mean, you're going to completely replenish your protein stores too. Thomas says, I had to start Mounjaro, which is a GLP-1, but not to lose weight, but to regulate my blood sugar and insulin. It's in replacement for Victoza. I don't plan to be on it forever. It was recommended to me by a doctor in our community. Yeah, and like I said, that's okay to get started. Dr. Barry says that he would use a GLP-1, to get someone started. Dr. Cywis is in love with him, but I think everybody hates him now. I still like him.
I like him.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like him. And then
I took Mounjaro for a year and a half. It was great.
Yeah,
it was a good.
Yeah, so it's all good. And yeah, and what you said here, I don't plan to be on it forever.
Yeah,
right there, you've got the right mentality. I don't plan to be on it forever. Some people, that's what they plan. Like, all I got to do is take this forever.
Yeah.
So, you should always be looking for ways to minimize the amount of prescription drugs that you're having to take. Hopefully.
But being a prescription drug, going back to big pharma, I saw a commercial last night on TV. I don't watch TV very much, so I don't know how often these commercials are out there, but I happened to be watching last night and I saw one and I was totally blown away by it because they were advertising GLP-1, but they were advertising it in such a way as it was going to be used to get you started, and they were going to have counseling along with it to teach you how to eat properly. Of course, their idea of properly ain't going to be our idea of properly, but still, it's like
a good message. It's a good message.
It did seem like a good message, and I don't think it's going to work simply because most of the people are still looking for a crutch. They're not looking for a way to strengthen themselves and to learn. I saw this with where I used to work. I knew quite a few people that had gastric bypass surgery, and they had to pay for it out of their own pocket. I mean, the insurance wouldn't even pay for it. And I'm going to say 99% of them all ended up, yeah, they lost weight in the beginning, but they all ended up stretching their bellies back out, stretching their stomachs back out, gaining all that weight because they didn't learn to eat properly. I only knew of 2 people out of the probably 20 or 30 of them that I knew did it. I knew 2 people that actually used that as a stepping stone to start eating right and exercising, and turn their lives around. Most people use it as a crutch.
Well, and that's a good point too, because you mentioned the insurance and everything with multiple people. Everything I've been seeing is, okay, they give it to you, but then after so long, they don't want to pay for it anymore. So they rip it the rug from underneath these people.
And
So
that's
then
when
what are these
people
people supposed to do when
gain all
it's
the weight.
$2,000 a month instead of $200 a month? Yeah. And the other thing is, I have 2 girlfriends that are not diabetics, and both of them, one of them drinks a lot of alcohol, and she's like, but Amy, I can't quit the alcohol. So I just want them to prescribe me something so I can lose the weight without having to change my, what I'm doing, like eating and drinking. And I have another girl who's severely obese, and she's a friend of mine, and she's on it. She's not a diabetic that I know of, but she just wants to continue eating pizza and French fry, all the things. And it's like, it's exactly what you said before. You have to change what you're eating along with getting gastric bypass or taking a GLP-1. And the other thing is, if you're on a GLP-1, you better be spending the majority of your time in the gym, lifting weights, because you like we said, you're going to lose your muscles faster than someone just on a keto or carnivore diet.
And that's why I think keto and carnivore with the GLP-1 is really the best. If you're going to take it, you need to go low carb, but no one does. And going back to what Jeff said was about being on these drugs, reducing prescriptions and not being on prescriptions. Once you are on a drug for life, you are a slave to that doctor, right? That doctor needs to write you the refills, and you need to go every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever it is. And that's just not the life I wanted to live, where I was like, basically at this person's mercy, and then they move or retire or quit or whatever, and then I have to find a new provider. It's just, so yeah, no medication for me right now.
Yeah, I was just encouraged to see that and it's probably because of the insurance thing that they were advertising that they were going to be offering counseling for people to.
It's about the money. You're right. It's totally about the money. They want people to get on the drug, and then the insurance wants to stop paying for it as soon as possible. Right.
So we have a comment for Kelly coming up, but before we do get to that, I just wanted to say hi to both Rick and Meathead. So you both have popped on the screen recently, and we haven't had a chance to say hi. How you doing? Yeah. So yeah, we'll start with you. You were first on the screen, Rick. How you doing?
Well, not bad. We had a bit of rain, and then I did a clean out today. So it took time to get all the junk out of the van. During the Kilts' live, I went back and forth, moving clutter around, putting stuff in the scrap pile, putting stuff in the garbage can. Then my friend brought some wood for me today.
Your volume went way low.
Rick, check your mic.
Really?
There you go.
It's like in and out.
I think it might be having to do with all this lightning and thunder.
I think it's because your mic is from 1952.
Well, I don't know what it is. That's weird.
But so go ahead. You did a clean out.
I did a clean out, and I had a bunch of junk in the van, so I cleaned all that up. Took all the scrap out, blew it all out. there's a rat smell in the van. I guess from the stuff I brought in, there must be rat droppings. So I'll have to sanitize that. But I got that done. Then at about the time when this started, my friend rides up. He says, "Oh, I got some wood for you. I got some tongue and groove. I got some plywood." Like, okay. So we had all these pieces. I'm going to use it to patch my roof because, as you know, my roof is shot. It's half rotten. It leaks all over the place. If it rains more than an inch, water starts dripping in. So I got that out there. Now I got to get some roofing paper. I got to get a tar keg or something like that. And I'll be up on the roof with my turkey fryer. And then what I do, I'll do the carpentry. And then when I'm done, I'll nail the roofing paper. And then I'll get that turkey fryer cooking, put that asphalt in there, and, start melting it. And then I'll dump that on there as I roll out the roofing material. I'll get it done. You're in construction. You know what it's involved in building this stuff. I have a gravel roof. Everybody else has shingles. The stupid county, they don't even want the gravel anymore, but it's the only thing that holds up in a hurricane. I can tell you, this is the original roof from '59. It's a disaster, but it went through several hurricanes. So if I get the materials I need, I'll work on it little by little, and I'll have a brand new roof in pieces. It won't matter anyway. Whoever buys the place will probably tear it down. But then again, I got to have it in one piece when I sell it. So that's what I'm doing. And then the wood that my friend gave me, it's outside. Hopefully the water doesn't ruin it, but I have it up against the wall. Tomorrow, I guess, when the sun comes out, I got a bunch of used motor oil. I'm going to dump it all over that wood because that's what I use to keep the termites out. I've had termites here and rot, and I'll tell you, nothing works better than used motor oil.
How'd you do with the rain? You had any water come in?
I did. What was it? Whatever day we had 6 inches of rain, I had water coming in all over the place. But in a rainstorm like this, it doesn't have enough to come through. It may drip a little bit up in the ceiling, but it's just minor. And then in the back of the house where the roof is totally shot and ready to collapse, I put plastic trays in there. I got 6 plastic trays, and I got PVC pipe running out of those trays into the bathroom. So when the roof leaks, the water just goes into the sink in the toilet, and that's it. So nothing's getting wet. And like I said, when I get ready to move, I'll be taking everything out of here. I can go ahead, there's some lightning, and I'll just start, fixing. I got to rip out maybe 8 or 9 2x12s in there between the termite damage and the rot, and just start ripping it out and fixing it. My dad built that addition by himself in the 70s, and I'm a lot stronger than my dad was. I think about my dad at my age. I'm healthier, taller, even though I'm skinny. I'm actually stronger than my dad was. So that's a great thing about the carnivore diet, isn't it? Get more done.
Can you imagine Rick showing his house and saying, "Here's where my duck guillotine is, and here's the water trays for the roof. That when it leaks, all you do is put these trays in there and empty them out, and
you don't have to empty them; they empty themselves."
Yeah, and here's the black mold
And the poop.
Here's my poop
The
biogas poop system, and
the gas poop system.
I don't know if I'll get a tour, but
over here in the black mold section.
I've shown a lot of pieces.
The mold is a real. I think there is a real concern.
I'm just wondering if the city of Columbia, Missouri, just called Rick to learn how to do their methane power plant, because that's what they're using is methane from the landfill to fire up a power plant for power, and then the other part is solar.
They have one of those here at the landfill. I've been doing, biogas for over almost 30 years. I started doing it after Hurricane Andrew, and that was 93. So, yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. Of course, I did blow up one of the tanks. There was more rain. I blew up one of the tanks because I didn't have the right water tap. The gas leaked in, and when I went to light the stove, it wouldn't light, and all of a sudden I heard this big explosion. It sounded like thunder, and the tank blew up, and all the fermented material blew all over. It went all the way up in the tree, and went all across the yard. Thankfully, it didn't blow in the neighbor's yard. It blew sideways. I guess it was an air pocket. It's an IBC tote. It has a metal cage, and then it's plastic inside. Well, the cage opened up at the weld seam. It blew open. All the crap went into the yard. So I go, well, at least I got my yard fertilized without having to do any work at all. All I did was light a match, and I had instant fertilizer. And I turned on the sprinklers, and I cleaned up the mess. And basically I cut the tank into pieces and put the scrap metal in the scrap pile, and I learned my lesson. You got to have a backflow preventer, because if you're making biogas, sometimes you get a mixture. When you first do it, there's air in there that has to be purged out, because what you're doing, you're mixing poop and plant material and water. You put it in the tank, you fill the tank about halfway, and then you have a crank on top so you can agitate it. So where you screw the lid on, you put the little thing in there and you give it a little twist, and then you watch it and you'll see, like on the side of the tank, it starts to inflate. And then sometimes you get like a low spot, so you're going to crank it a few more times. And you got the inner tube hooked up to the pipe. And then I see everybody's laughing. You got the inner tube hooked up to a pipe in a hole in the tank, and then it's hooked up, one of those big inner tubes like you go in the river with. And then the inner tube starts to inflate. And as it inflates, it's making methane. And then all you got to do is you got your pipe connected, you open the valve, and then you put a plywood on top of it for weight. It pushes down on it. It's got to have that check valve, otherwise it'll push back into the tank. And that's it. You're ready to cook. You're making me laugh. One inner tube full of gas is enough to cook a really good meal. And it'll make gas every single day. So I can go the whole day with one inner tube load.
Hey, Rick, so I have to apologize to you because that was probably the most shocking thing you said in the interview last night. And I found the part, and then I edited it out into a short, and the very end says, I cook with poop. And then now I'm like, oh shoot, I just put this again out.
She got 50 followers from that.
I just put this back out on the internet, and now there's probably gonna be men in hazmat suits showing up at your house to contain everything.
Probably.
Well, they actually sell a device. If you look it up online, it's called Home Biogas. It's an inflatable biogas generator. It's expensive. It's overpriced, but they sell it. You can buy it. You can put it in your yard. If you got enough poop and enough plant material, look for a device called Home Biogas. It's all one word. So I'm not the only one doing it. It's a real thing. And I've had no more explosions in the last 20-something years.
That was interesting.
Could you imagine a giant poop explosion and the county coming out and going? They're like, "What is this? Oh, all the poop I had exploded all over my yard."
Thank God the roof was already coming down, because they just blew right through the roof. It blew the mold away.
Well, it's outside. It's in the corner of the backyard. It's up against the block wall. So when it exploded, it blew right into the yard. Okay. And I just turned the sprinklers on and got the hose out and cleaned up the mess. It wasn't really that bad of a smell. I mean, it's no worse than a dog pooping.
I have a
in
question.
The yard. Yeah.
Does it smell when it's in the poop container, whatever that thing is, the bubble?
The tube.
Does it smell at all? Can you smell the poop tube?
There is no odor whatsoever. It is completely odorless. And once it stops fermenting, you end up with black dirt. Black dirt is basically, it smells like dirt. So it goes from being poop and plant material to dirt. And it does it in a lack of oxygen. So instead of producing methane that goes into the atmosphere and does warm the atmosphere, that is an absolute fact. That methane is being collected and burned in my kitchen, cooking my food.
What do you do
So
with
when
this?
I've gotten that big fat duck, nice and fat after a month or two, and he sticks his head through the duck feeder and is removed, well, what do you think I use to cook Mr. Duck? I use the biogas. And by the way, all the extra duck parts that are not edible, they go into the biogas tank too. So it's all recycled.
What happens to the dirt?
I put it in the yard. It goes right back in the yard. That's some of the bananas that I get, and the mangoes and the avocados. That's the result. And I told my vegan friends about it, and the one gal, her daughter freaked out. She wouldn't eat the vegetables from my garden. But I tried to explain. You go to the store, you go to Sprouts or Whole Foods or whatever other overpriced store you go to. You buy this organic crap, and guess what it's fertilized with? It's fertilized with crap. It's some kind of fermented crap. The only difference is mine has cat poop, dog poop, and some human poop. It's all in there. It's all fermented, and it turns into gas. The anaerobic bacteria are not pathogenic once they've done their thing, and it eliminates any contamination. You think about foreign countries, and even in this country, people used to cook with cow manure. Can you believe that? They would take dried cow manure and they'd cook with it. And, it's not that bad, but if the manure happened to splash or something, it could contaminate the food. You think about
On the cattle trails, going up on the cattle trails, Cookie had the chuck wagon there, and he'd have a tarp under the bottom of the chuck wagon, hanging down like a belly. And as they would travel along, they would take dried buffalo chips, dried out, meadow muffins, as we have called them in the past, and toss them in there, because out on the plains, there was no wood, and you can't cook with grass. So they used buffalo chips, or, dried buffalo manure. So it's been a, very common thing for many a time. And I'm sure the Indians did the same thing, the Plains Indians.
And the thing is that my system uses the same technology, but with a modern twist. Instead of having to pick up animal poop and then light it on fire and let it dry, you don't have to do any of that. You throw it into the tank, you let it ferment, the gas comes out, and it makes pressure. And, I do have a pump. I have one of those, like an old-fashioned bellows that you can pressurize it. If you're not cooking, like, let's say you're cooking in the kitchen and the flame is kind of yellow and flickery or whatever, you go out there and you hand pump the tank. You get the gas and you pump it. So you pull some of the gas out of the tank into the inner tube, and then that's it. It'll give you that extra cooking, when you're running down. When you start to run down on the tank, you switch to another. And I have 3 tanks that are fermenting, generally one process or the other. When the fermenting is complete, I clean out the tank. I start all over again, start a new one. It takes 2 weeks from the time that you fill it with poop, and it takes a lot of poop. So as I'm getting the poop from my neighbors, and then there used to be an animal shelter. They had a home, a private animal shelter that they used to keep.
That's a clip right there. As I'm getting the poop from my neighbors, period.
Yep.
Hey, Amy, are you writing all this down?
No,
listen.
I'm trying to. No,
We
no,
never
but I did tell my husband about this. He goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, that actually, he sounds brilliant."
He is.
It is.
Like the fact that I've never heard
I
of
mean-
this before until yesterday, until your show yesterday.
Well, I do other things. I recycle seed oil as fuel, and I make diesel from plastic. I started making diesel from plastic in the 1990s. I've done it for years. Most of the diesel that I have in my van is homemade from plastic sheeting, plastic cups, all kinds of plastic. And then here in Miami, they have one of those, what do they call that? Not a river clean, but it's like an ocean. It's like a group that goes around. They pick up all this trash, that plastic and whatever, and they used to take it to the landfill. So I have a friend that's in those volunteer groups, and I used to tell her, well, bring it to me. They're going to take it to the landfill anyway. They bring me truckload of plastic, and I'd cook that plastic up, and believe it or not, that produces its own gas. So when you're cooking the plastic to make diesel, the stuff that won't condense into diesel, you burn it as a gas. But I start the process with either propane or poop gas. So you light up the burner with the poop gas, you get it hot, and then you start gasifying your plastic. Now, the other technique I use is plasma gasification, which is basically a carbon arc torch. It runs off a generator, and that generator runs off of the diesel that I make, and you put that in there.
It runs off a generator, and that generator.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, what it does, it takes the electric arc, makes a very high temperature, 3,000 degrees or whatever it is, in the plastic without oxygen, which vaporizes it. It runs through a condenser, and I use fertilizer as a catalyst, and it converts it into diesel. And the stuff that doesn't condense into diesel goes into a bag, and that gas is used to run the fire. So once you start, it's self-sustaining, and it runs on waste. You don't get a lot of diesel. A whole truckload of plastic may give you 30 gallons of diesel, but still, it's better than nothing. It drips out of there like a moonshine still.
All right, so here's a question here. This one was for Kelly. What made you call yourself the Broken Carnivore?
I want to know that too.
Well, if carnivore doesn't mean I'm broken there. But the broken means that I am a Christian. I go to church. I'm not perfect. We're all not perfect. We all make mistakes. That's where the broken comes from, because we're all broken and we all fallen short of the glory of God. You know,
Amen.
if anybody's a true believer or Christian, they know that verse.
Praise the Lord.
Absolutely.
And that's where broken comes from, is because as Dr. Kiltz always says, that we're always God's heart with a lion, something with the lion's heart. I'll just say I'm just a broken, busted sheep with a lion's heart and a lion's appetite. Meow.
All right. So there we go.
And
It's
there's
Milton.
Milton.
Okay. Let's see here. Here's the next one. Comment I wanted to highlight here. I'm healed from several diseases and counting so far on carnivore. There is no anti-carnivore noise that can touch me at this point.
Nice.
I live in health and happiness for the first time in decades. Bride's Biscuit, if you're still watching, that's just awesome. I love hearing that. And I'm the same way. I'm invincible now. You know, you just wave a cookie or a chocolate cake in front of me and anything going to happen. Tell me how bad carnivore is. It's going to go in one ear, not the other. And not just because of my experience, but I've also hit the books and I've done the research too. And I just know better now. So that's awesome. Let's see here. Here's a question. Hi, carnivores. What are the supplements you recommend while on carnivore? D3, K2, iodine? And
It depends on what you need.
mhm.
I don't believe that there is a blanket, you got to do this, this, and this. It's all in what you need. And I'll give you an example. Okay. One of the supplements many people do need when they first start carnivore is some type of electrolytes, simply because we flush out so much fluid out of our bodies because we have no fiber, holding the water back. And so we can easily flush out too many electrolytes. So in the beginning of carnivore, until our body gets fully adapted, we often need supplements. We often need electrolytes. In my case, I think 9 months into my journey, and I started off taking Element. I switched to keto chow because it was, in the long run, it was going to be cheaper for me. But I was taking it every day. Because why? Because, well, everybody else was doing it. That's what they said you need to do. So I was doing it. And then I go in for an exam, and my blood test comes back and shows, one, I'm too low on sodium, and I'm way too high on potassium. And for somebody with a heart condition, well, anybody, it's dangerous to be high on your potassium. But for somebody with a heart condition, it's very dangerous. And I was into the danger zone. And so I had to cut the electrolytes. And when I cut them, 6 weeks later, I had another blood test, and my potassium was back down to normal ranges. My sodium was up to normal ranges, still low, but a low normal. And so this showed me what a lot of people have been telling me, is that you need to take supplements as you need them. Not because everybody else is doing it, and not because somebody says you should have this. Get your blood drawn. Find out what you need. If you're experiencing certain things in your body, it may be due to the fact you need to add a supplement. But don't just willy-nilly take them because somebody says you should be taking this. You don't get a lot of sun, okay, you may not need vitamin D. But if you live in a northern climate, you're indoors all day, you don't get a lot of outside, then you will definitely need some vitamin D. We know that for a fact. But you'll find that a lot of carnivores out there don't take any supplements because they get everything they need from their diet. So that's just something to think about. Make sure you need them before you take them.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I take. So I do take D3 and K2. I take D3 again because I spill the protein that D3 likes to bind to. So my vitamin D is always low. And I take K2 because that's supposed to work together. The K2 helps move the D3 into the bones and not, or the calcium into the bones and not in your, so it doesn't collect in your arteries or something. So,
Well, and I'll add onto that. Let me add on to that, Bob. What I was trying to say is, take it as you need it. If you're trying to treat a specific thing. Now, in that regard, I am now on an iodine regimen. You asked about iodine. I'm on an iodine regimen, but not as a daily health thing, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Pop Carnivore, Thomas Sifrid or whatever his name is, he recommends a daily regimen just because he feels that everybody needs it. But you can get the iodine you need from eating. In my case, I'm doing an iodine regimen for cancer. And so using his advice that Papa Carnivore turned me on to, using his advice, I'm taking a mega dose of iodine, try to treat my cancer. And so, I'm using it for a specific reason. And that's just what I think people ought to do is if you're going to take a supplement, take it for a specific reason.
Yeah. And so my vitamin D was like 19 and I take 10,000 IUs a day and I got it up to like 55 and I've been doing this for years. And, but that varies because then one of the guys that works for me, he does a lot of work outside and he was taking 2,000 IUs a day and he had to stop because his vitamin D got up over 130, so he was getting all that sunshine. So he didn't need to supplement. So he got up into those toxic levels. So I take vitamin D3 and I take, for my triglycerides, I take icosapent ethyl, which is erythropoic acid. It's one of those omega-3s found in fish. So I take a fish oil supplement. And then I take blood pressure medicine. That's it. So, I occasionally might take a magnesium if I feel like I might have some muscle twitching or cramps coming on, but I don't take them all the time. I used to have to take electrolytes. I used to have to drink electrolytes like water, but after a couple of years of carnivore, I don't have to anymore. So,
well, I still find that I need an electrolyte if I know I'm going to be out working in the heat all day.
Mm-hmm.
I will take an electrolyte because I will have cramps at night. So once again, I'm taking it only as I need it to treat a specific issue.
All right. Okay. Here's so we'll undo that one here. Bob, I'll keep you in my prayers. Thank you very much. Tom says, does anyone know what could cause a bad pain at the bone right below the bottom of the middle finger on the right hand? Had it for 2 weeks now and just curious. I don't know, bruise, bump, pull, something like that. It's probably from use and
Gout.
probably
gout.
just need rest. Gout? Is that what you said? Gout?
Yeah. Like in the joint. It sounds like it's in the joint,
Yeah.
Usually not on the hand, but it could be.
It could also be oxalate dumping.
So, yeah, I would just try and give it rest. I actually kind of like broke this thumb on my dog's collar. I went to grab her collar and she twisted it. And this has been like 6 months now. And like, I still can't pick things up with this hand very well. This thumb hurts. So I'm probably gonna have to go.
Is it an epidemic? We're having finger injuries.
See, you got one there too.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to have this thumb broken again and then set so it heals properly. So, but I'm trying to just deal with it, but it still hurts, and it's been like 6 months.
We can form a new cult. We can be the finger cult.
What would be our sign? No, we probably don't want to put that up on the screen.
No.
Everybody show the finger. Here we go. April 2024, in my blood test, creatinine was off the charts and doctor freaked out, also on EGFR, and said I was CKD stage 3B. So no butter, no meat, only fish, lean meat. Next month, retest normal bloods. And Okay, well, I mean, so if you reduced the amount of protein you were eating and gave your kidneys time to catch up and filter out that excess creatinine, then yeah, your blood markers would improve. That's exactly kind of what Papa Carnivore and I was talking about. And yeah, no butter, no meat, only fish, lean meat, and obviously you probably only ate that when you felt like it. And yeah, and then you probably had more. I'm guessing you had probably more grains, fruits, vegetables. Yeah, so the less protein you eat, the less creatinine you will produce, and you have time to filter that out, and therefore your EGFR will go up. But it could be a false flag. That was kind of the point. You go to kidney.org and it'll say that, like, if you stop eating meat and start eating vegetables, your EGFR will improve. And if you stop eating vegetables and start eating meat, your EGFR will get worse. And it'll say right there on the kidney.org website, but this does not mean you are improving kidney function or doing any further damage. You're just changing the protein load that's in your body. And the numbers reflect that. I almost died from LDL lowering med called Repatha. LDL controls the bacteria in your lungs. All right. Oh, how low did it go? Speaking of low LDL, do any of you guys ever watch this guy named Dr. Allo?
No.
Okay, good. Don't. He's a cardiologist, but he is basically one of these cardiologists that are waging the war against LDL. Yeah, exactly. He had a short the other day talking about how some people can get on these drugs. You can be taking a statin, you could be taking whatever the shots they give you are, and some people will come back with a negative LDL. Their LDL will be -7. And he said that's a beautiful thing, absolutely harmless. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. He's one of these guys that's like, yeah, it's supposed to be under 100 for everybody. If you had a heart attack, they say they want it under 70, but he thinks it needs to be like under 40. But then he was tied this short about people having a negative LDL. And I'm just like, it just don't even sound right.
No. Well, knowing what LDL does in the body, that sounds like a death sentence to me.
Right. Yeah. Here's a question for Lewis. Are you still on GLP-1, and what are the long-term effects?
So I answered in the chat. The answer is no.
Okay.
I'm not. And the long-term effects, I mean, people have been taking the first generation of these medications, like the one that Thomas was taking, Victoza, for over 20 years. And, there doesn't seem to be any signal of anything like that. So, but the newer ones, I'm not, I don't know what the long terms will be. We'll find out in 20 years, all those people that aren't changing their diets, how they're doing.
Yeah. Let me see. Meathead's connection must have been bad because if you notice, he was on and then off and then on and then off and then on and off. So, Kurt, if you're watching, we hope you're doing okay.
My lowest LDL reading was 36 in August of 2021.
I think mine was 109. I think the lowest I've ever seen was like 109.
And then I recently got lab work last week, and my LDL was 108.
Mine's like 300 right now, but usually it hovers around like 205, 210. So, but now since it hit 300, that's when my doctor was like, "Oh, you're at the cutoff. Statin time for you."
Now I think mine was 324 total.
I know what probably did it is because for the two weeks before I had that blood drawn, had the lipid panel done, I had discovered butter bites. So I was making butter bites and popping those like candy for like 2 weeks. And then I went and got a lipid panel done. So I'm not surprised to see that, the LDL was a little higher, but I'm not worried about it. And then the endocrinologist schedules me for January. So it can't be that much of an emergency.
Well, listen to this. So I guess about a year.
Your microphone went out on you too.
Who, mine?
It did for a minute. Yeah.
You can't hear anything?
Now I can.
Oh, well, a year and a half ago, so I had my LDL came in, and it was, I don't know, 250, and he, gave me the whole statin speech, and I just nodded my head, and he gave me the prescription. I took the paper and I threw it out in the trash can on the way out. Whatever. I didn't even argue because he's a know-it-all, so it's not even worth arguing with him. So I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I just took it and threw it in the trash can. The next time, this was about 3 months ago, and I had been over to my girlfriend's house, and I had a little bit of duck food, right, Rick? I had a little duck food, and right before my blood test, and my LDL came in, and it was like some ridiculously low number, like 80, and it was, remember the Oreo, the Nick Norwitz Oreo thing, where you can artificially lower it by eating sugar. So that's, I think, what happened, because there's no way I could have gone from like 250 or 275 LDL, and then all of a sudden I didn't change my diet except for I had, some sweets over at my girlfriend's house, and now I'm at 80. You know what I mean? I guarantee you the next time I go in, if I'm clean carnivore, it's back to 275 or whatever. But it doesn't matter.
I'm not worried about it. So, and you know what? I've become not worried about my triglycerides too. They're still kind of high. They average 250 now, which is a lot better than 2,887. But they're
what
staying.
Triglycerides came in at?
Huh?
You know what my triglycerides came in at?
What's that?
60.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so my issue is, again, it all comes down to my kidneys. So I spill the enzyme that breaks down triglycerides. My triglycerides have a longer shelf life than most people's, so they accumulate in my system a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I'm not too concerned about it, because the people where they're at higher risk for cardiac disease, they have high triglycerides because they're eating cookies, cakes, pies, candy.
Yeah.
And that's not me, Mine has come down, and I think also I'm still in the middle of my healing journey. So like when I lost all that weight, I mean, I was, super fat, and the fat from my belly got dissolved, went into my bloodstream. That's triglyceride. My triglycerides were high, and I just think over time I've become my metabolic syndrome, my insulin resistance, all that stuff has been slowly healing over the course of a couple years, because I think I was in really bad shape. So, all right, Frank, who had the bad kidney blood work and ate the fish and got better, says he just subscribed. Glad you could join us. He also adds to his comment coming up. In fact, I'll just throw that on the screen now. He says he went straight back to beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, no veggies, never going back.
Way to go, Frank.
Yeah, and I think you'll be fine. Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, Papa Carnivore brought it up. The next time you have some blood numbers drawn, ask for a cystatin C also. And so when your EGFR with creatinine scares you, then you've got the EGFR with cystatin C to bring you comfort. Amy, is that a coffee on top of your mic?
Oh, there's no no, this
It looks
is
like a
water
coffee.
with a
Yeah. The shape of your microphone looks like a coffee cup.
Yeah, the handle. It looks like on our angle, it looks like a cup. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's a pop filter.
It's a pop
Okay,
filter.
when we look at it that way, it looks like the handle on a coffee cup. That's funny. Rodney's in the house. Hey, y'all, my wife had knee replacement surgery, and I've been busy taking care of her. Hope you are all well. Hey, hope you're doing well too, Rodney, and I hope your wife has a speedy recovery. It's interesting you say that. So my wife had surgery on Friday also. She's off work for the next 6 weeks, and right now she's laying down on the couch. And all right. So speedy recovery to both of the women there. Hi, Lexus. Glad you could join us. And if you would like to join us on screen, you may. She's been on in the past. I just take a moment to say we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got
And
7.
Bob, I forgot to say when I joined, the link that you pinned was to Darth Carnivore's YouTube channel. You pinned the wrong link.
Ah, okay.
That was like an hour ago.
Haha. Okay, well, everybody click that link that's pinned
Anyway,
and go
right,
subscribe to Darth Carnivore.
I did that anyway because I was like, oh, subscribe. And then I had to scroll and find the link.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I'm going to post the link in the chat. And then when it pops up over here,
Yep, I see it.
I will replace pinned message. Okay, there we go. All right, so yeah, so we got room for 3 more on screen if you'd like to join us. And you have got a webcam, a microphone, a little bit of courage. You're welcome to join us here on screen, and we would love to have you.
You're
So
welcome to
Lexus,
join us here on.
yeah, Lexus says, I've been carnivore for 2 months now. Yes, I'm trying to eat more fat, maybe lower protein. I don't feel very good anymore. Okay, so I don't know, obviously, the details of your situation. Does the anymore coincide with lowering the protein and increasing the fat? If so, go back to what you were doing before. So it's just, we do like to experiment with fat to protein ratios, but also remember that what you would hunt and find out in nature is already in the ideal ratio as it is. Like that ribeye or that 80-20 ground beef or 73-27. If there's a particular reason why you want to go throw on extra fat because it makes you feel better, you perform better, you get more energy, you lose weight or something, that's fine. But if it's making you feel worse, then don't do it. Go back to where you were before.
The other thing is Lexi just got a new job and she's probably got a little anxiety about work. She hasn't worked in a while, and she's also was schizophrenic, and Carnivore is helping her through all that. But that little bit of extra anxiety is probably just Lexi, from just anxiety from that you're going to be starting a new job. I would keep the fat high. I would keep the fat high. I wouldn't change that up.
Maybe not just yet, because there could be other factors that are causing this. That's what Papa Carnivore is saying.
To add to that, her meds, like if she's taking different medications for what she has, have they adjusted your medications? I know medications make me feel lousy no matter how good I'm eating, and maybe your doses need to be adjusted.
Yeah, she probably needs
and obviously
lower those down a little bit because she's starting to heal.
And you may be feeling exhausted from the combination of the job and medications and healing, and so whatever encouragement we can provide to just keep along, and maybe talk to your doctors about your meds too.
Yeah. With that in mind, I wanted to share this study here. I mentioned this at 8:00 and we've never gotten to it. But I thought this was pretty cool. Oh, not that one. Oh, okay. No, it's correct on this YouTube. It's incorrect in front of me. Here we go. I saw this study. This might be old news because this study came out in June 23rd of 2025, as you see there. So, remission of schizophrenia using a carnivore ketogenic metabolic therapy with nutritional therapy practitioner support. And that basically just means with medical supervision. And I thought this was interesting here. It says that this retrospective case report presents the use of a carnivore ketogenic diet by a subject with schizophrenia, supported by a nutritional therapy practitioner, resulting in remission. And I always love, I could sit here and read this whole thing to you guys, but it would take, 15 minutes and bore most of you to tears.
I love this in the chat or in the video description. Do you have it?
I love data like this. What's that?
Can you drop it in the chat or put it in the video description? The link.
Oh yeah, let me drop it in. I'll start by jumping it in the chat. And
Lexi to see what the subject of the case study, what they did. Hopefully, go
Yeah.
into detail
So
about that.
there's a link to it in the chat, but it's a pretty lengthy read. There's a long discussion here, but the summary is, down here at the bottom, this case report demonstrates that even in difficult social circumstances and with limited professional support, it is potentially possible to implement a ketogenic metabolic therapy and put serious mental illness into remission. It suggests that a carnivore ketogenic diet may be one option to help individuals improve brain function, resolve mental health symptoms, and restore daily life functioning. It raises the potential for nutritional therapy practitioners to work alongside mental health professionals to help subjects implement and sustain ketogenic diets. So, if you're the type of person like me that loves to have studies in your arsenal to show people, especially people who might suffer from this kind of condition, save that link, because this is an excellent study to refer back to. And it's in harmony. You're probably familiar with books like Brain Energy and what's the other one?
Change your diet, change your mind.
Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind. Yeah. So this study is in harmony with what we've probably already read, in those books by those authors, one of which I know is a doctor for sure. I think they both are.
They both are.
Yeah. So, but remember, we're in a cult and red meat's bad.
Well,
but then you see a study like this and it's like, well, if someone can put schizophrenia into remission,
let me
that's
give you
powerful.
Well,
Powerful.
I had suffered with bipolar depression for decades, and I was taking antipsychotic drugs and antidepressants and stuff for anxiety. I had chronic anxiety, I had ADHD. I mean, I had a lot of stuff, and it's in complete remission for 2 years now.
Very nice. And we have a comment here from Cranky Carnivore Cutler. Healing the anxiety associated with PTSD I experienced improved, but it took over 6 months on a proper human diet. So yeah.
Yeah, it takes time. Time.
Yeah, very nice. George Goodenough was here from Britain.
He wakes up every morning in the WhatsApp chat. He's always saying good morning to us in America.
Yeah, so I think he's probably 5 hours ahead of us.
Ahead of us, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a late night. Glad you hung in there as long as you did, George. It was a pleasure. Cranky Carnivore says, for people over 50, LDL levels are inversely proportional to all-cause mortality.
Yep, that's right.
Yes, we've seen that too. And where the older people with the a little bit higher LDL seem to survive better. And that clown I referred to earlier on his YouTube channel, he will say that that's not true, that there's some misleading information or bias in there. But then we've all seen the graph. We've seen the chart. We've read the study. So, and then, we read this already. Frank went back to beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. So, all right. Very good. Where am I? I just found out tonight that you could star comments.
I see you doing it.
Oh, you see me doing it?
I can see right now. There's none starred. I think before it said I had a thing that said show starred comments.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I was unstarring them as I went. I never knew you could do that. So that I was
nice way to grab them as you see them.
Instead of scrolling through, we're trying to read every one of them at a time and throw them up on the screen. I was kind of able to go through them and just kind of pick and choose them while someone else had the limelight for a minute, and pick out the good ones. So that's a very useful feature. The video on YouTube by Carrie Mann at Homestead How, titled "Can Carnivore Cure Depression?" is my professional opinion and second best and moving carnivore video available.
Wow.
I may not have seen that. So I wish I could watch every carnivore video that's put out, but of course there's only so much time in a day. So I'll have to make a note of that one. yes, starting a new job and school, along with everything else, is making me feel very overwhelmed and stressed. Okay, so yeah, then the advice about keep plugging along and maybe not necessarily change up your diet just yet is actually good advice. It seems like there's other mitigating circumstances there that are causing some added stress. And although I do like Amy's comment too about, the longer you're on carnivore and the more you're improving, you might need to make adjustments in your dosages for your medications. Obviously, talk to your doctor or nutritional practitioner, as that study called it. Great points and a good read. All right. Okay. And this is the first time I've seen Milton mentioned. How's Milton doing?
You know Milton, he's over there causing trouble. He's biting on my microphone cable again.
Maybe that's why it was going out earlier.
Don't blame Milton for your 1952 microphone.
He loves that cable, let me tell you.
All right. Well, I need to hit the pause button for myself. I'm going to go use the restroom, so I'm going to remove myself from the screen, but you guys can stay right here and talk about whatever you want, whether that's Milton, whether that's your yard full of poop, or,
Look
or
at him.
anything else. I will be back in about 2 minutes.
Methane.
Go for it, Bob.
All right, I'm actually gonna hop off, guys. I'm getting tired and I have to go into work tomorrow, so I'm gonna say goodbye here and hop into.
Amy, we'll see you later.
Good night, Amy.
Good to see
Bye.
you all. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye bye.
So, Rick, what exactly are we looking at? I see a toilet linked to a giant, some type of tank.
Is this a methane tank here?
Is this what you are aspiring to build?
It's some picture I found on the internet, but it's basically the same concept that I use.
And that toilet there, that collects donations?
That's right. That's what it says. South Korea's poop to power plant turns human waste into methane energy for university buildings.
Wow. So all you gotta do is poop in outside in front of everybody, and
Right?
you're good to go.
That's about it. Let me see where that
Very
went.
cool.
Where did that go? Oh my
And
goodness.
as soon as Bob gets back, I'm gonna sign off too. I want to get to bed.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I'm fixing to bail myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Poop to power.
I'm still here.
Hello,
I
Papa
know
Carnivore.
everybody likes the poop thing.
I think Rick
Poop
has
makes everybody laugh.
mind.
That's right, Amy. You we had to revisit the poop situation.
I think poop
Yeah, I
gets the
gotta
view.
admit, that wasn't on my bingo card today.
Just think
That's
if you got a
that's not-
farm.
Oh, thank God he's back. Oh, thank God.
All right.
Rick had us pooping out in the middle of a parking lot to make donations. Oh man.
All right. Carrie is smart and has been making sure to get info from some of the best. So yeah, no. So Carrie does a good work. So
With a few exceptions.
yeah,
He's good. He's good. He puts a lot of work into his channel.
yeah. He's definitely has a passion for the diet. He has a passion for his project. I am looking forward to it being done, and
He'll get it done
And-
eventually. I
yeah,
guarantee it.
he'll get it done. Oh no, he'll get it. He's put this much time and money into it. It's not like he's going to give up on it. So
No,
I'm
he would
looking
never
forward
give
to
up
it.
on that. There's no way.
all right.
He's not a quitter.
No.
He
All
has
right,
a
Bob, my 2 hours is up. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna log off too.
Yeah, me-
Everyone.
Okay. All right. So
Oh, Ellen.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi, Helen.
nice. It's not you, it's
Hey.
me. I'm leaving. It's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
yeah, Jeff and
But now
Jeff-
you're in good hands. You're with Helen.
Jeff and Lewis are gonna bail. So
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Now
Good night, y'all.
listen to Rick's poop tank here now.
I'll be listening. Please don't talk about poop. Thank you.
good night, Jeff.
Bye.
Good night, Lewis. And welcome, All for Jesus Carnivore. Helen, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Uh-huh. All right. Glad you could join us. How are you doing?
Doing great. Amazing.
All right. It is still daylight where you are. Where might you be, if I may ask?
It is. I am in Oregon, Roseburg, Oregon,
Okay.
and it doesn't get dark until after 9 o'clock at night. So we're about an hour and a half south of Eugene.
So is it 6 o'clock for you then?
It is 7, believe it or
It's
not.
7,
And it's
okay.
just beautiful. The sun is not even setting yet. It's way over there, over the mountain over there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's beautiful.
All
So
right.
you guys do this every Monday evening?
Every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So
Okay.
we've been on for 2 hours. That's so that'd be 5 for you, 5 o'clock for you.
Oh, so you're almost ready to close down shop.
A little bit. Sometimes we go to 10, sometimes we go to midnight. It just kind of depends.
Oh wow, seriously?
We've had my longest one was 8 to midnight. It was 4 hours, but then I kind of got scolded by my wife for that one. So but she's watching a movie with my son right now. So she just had surgery. So
Yeah.
I think she's okay because she's laying on the couch anyway, recovering. Usually so she works like 8 a.m. and gets home around 6:30 p.m. And then
Yeah.
I do this at 8. I do this at 8 o'clock, and it used to be a Zoom meeting. So we used to do Zoom
Uh-huh.
over on my website, carnivoretalk.com. We used to Zoom from 8 to 9.
Yeah.
And then over the months, that started to wane in attendance. And then so Jeff and I decided, well, you know what? Let's turn it from a private Zoom to a public live stream.
Yeah.
And that way people that are camera shy can jump in the chat and we can still interact with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we've been doing that now. This is, I think, week 14 of live streaming. And we absolutely love it. We have a good time, and we get to meet individuals like you and Rick and Kelly here and all kinds of people here in the chat. And
Rosie,
yeah,
come say hi.
it's fun. It's fun. And so the idea worked because instead of like a Zoom call from 8 to 9, we find ourselves sitting here till midnight sometimes, because we're having such a good time.
Yeah. I'm glad I found you guys. I don't know. There are just so many of them going on. By the time I finish one, it's like, oh no, I missed the other one. Oh no, I missed this other one.
Yeah, we debated on when to do it, and it was the same thing. There was always another one, and I want to try not to be a conflict. Like, I don't want to start earlier because then I'm competing, and I will never compete with Dr. Barry's Monday Night Live. So
Yeah.
there's no point in starting at 7, and 8 just seems like a good time. I don't know anybody else is doing it Monday at 8. Tuesday, there's a couple other ones. Wednesday, I'm in Dr. Barry's group, so Wednesday's his Zoom call. I like to attend that instead. Thursdays,
Tuesdays is Healing Humanity.
healing. So I'm not in healinghumanity.life, but he does I'm a member of his YouTube channel, and they'll do a members only live on Thursday. And I think so. Members only live Thursday 4 to 5, and then I think they do another live that's public the same night, and then I think they do a Zoom call that's private for their health.life community. And but I'm not in that.
Yeah.
So and then
So I was today on an interview with Health Solutions.
mhm.
They are pharmacists, him and his wife, and they've totally I think they became carnivores, and they've changed their way of dealing with medicine and all that stuff. So you guys might want to go check out their website. It's called Health Solutions, and I met them up in Seattle when we met there at the meetup up there in Seattle. Great couple, Sean and Janet. So So Weedham, I believe their last name is. You might want to go check them out.
Health Solutions.
Yeah,
So there's
they
a
have
health.
really good interviews with doctors and stuff.
So let me see. I'm gonna share this screen. You tell me if this is it, because a lot of times there's multiple channels with the same name. So is that it?
John and Janet, there are two of them.
See, this says Health Solutions is at Health Solutions channel.
No, that's not it.
That's not it.
They just put up my interview today with them. Let me see if I could maybe I could text you a picture of it. Let me see.
Here we go. Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy.
Yes, it's up there. So how can I get back to this? Hi.
I like to check into a room.
There we are.
Is that them?
I lost you.
Oh, okay.
Let me see how I can get back. Is that on Zoom? No, it's not.
No, I'm probably you probably opened up a web browser.
I did.
Like if you're on Apple, it's probably Safari.
Yes,
if
here
you're on,
it is. Yes, I saw. Yes,
Okay.
Janet and yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so I will post this link in the chat, and then that way, those of you who are still watching, we got according to the StreamYard here, there's 32 people still here watching. So yeah, you can click on that and then go check out.
Yeah, they both
Helen
are.
Edwards Carnivore Journey streamed 6 hours ago.
Yeah. They've been
Okay.
farmers for over 30 years and they've changed. And you get to see some of their, interviews and their beliefs and all that. Great people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a deer right there. Can you guys see it? Come here, deer.
Let me remove the.
Oh, there he goes behind the trees. Or she.
we feed the deer over here.
You do? Okay.
I do, yeah. My neighbor hates it, but we do. Yeah. All right, let's see here. So yeah, Rodney asks, no meathead tonight. Jeff, did you all get moved yet? So Jeff is still in the middle of moving, and yeah, Kurt is busy this month. So with some other obligations. So yeah, he probably will be scarce through the month of August, but then in September he'll be back regularly again. So, and you might send him a private message over on Carnivore Talk and ask him. I won't say it publicly because we know he likes to keep to himself a bit, So we don't need to broadcast anybody's personal business anyway. Let's see here. Soot is over here giving me free cat acupuncture.
All right, Bob, y'all have a good night. I'm going to sign off here. It's time for bed.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining
All
us, Kelly. Thanks for giving us the scoop behind your channel name. Channel name or
you're
username,
welcome.
Your handle there.
I
And,
agree with you, Broken Carnivore. I agree 100% with your beliefs. I believe the same way. We're all broken people, and we all need the Lord. And
Absolutely.
that wonderful way He showed us. And one thing I keep seeing more and more people that are coming to Carnivore. They are literally coming to after they ask God for help, and that was my story, almost 16 months ago. I literally at 2:00 in the morning, I could not sleep because the pain was all over my body. And I've been living that way for years. And I was sick of medications. I was sick of doctors because I knew 100% deep down inside me, there was nothing that any doctor or any medicine was going to do for me. Nothing. And that's when I put my hands up to God. And it's like, please, God, help me. And I got up because I could not stay laying down because of the pain, and got on my phone on YouTube, and there's Carrie Man out of nowhere. I've never seen him before. And I watched yesterday another video by Dave Mack, and his name, the guy, his name is Gene, and he, as soon as he asked him, it's like, how did you come to carnivore? And he immediately said, the grace of God. I really believe God is drawing his people and trying to show us, you've been poisoned, and I want you to wake up, and I want you to bring other people in, you know. And they were talking about cult earlier, you know.
Hmm.
It's honestly, it's like out of love. Like if I tell people about Jesus because I love them and I want them to know there is eternal life, there is heaven, you know. And now I tell them about carnivores because out of love, because I want them to live this pain-free, you know, life. I what was hell? It's like I was in a body that was debilitated by pain and misery. You know, nothing tasted good anymore. Sleepless nights after sleepless night. I was like so restricted from anything I wanted to do, even walking after like a 2-3, you know, like 10 minutes, my heel would hurt. It's like, okay, I need to shut up because I can't stop when I start talking. But yeah, I believe God is doing this movement for everybody and is using us as Christians to really love our neighbor and tell them about it. So
So one of the ways that I kind of word my diet is that I try to eat only what, and I'll say God or nature has made available to eat. Okay. So no human food. So if man made it, it's probably not good, you know, but if I can hunt it or pluck it off a vine, you know, then it's probably fair game, you know. And so that's why I say that eliminates grains and refined sugar, because those are grasses and you have to process them. You can't, you never at some point could you just walk out into a field and start eating uncooked grains, at least not the common ones, you know.
right.
And especially the ones and then the ones today, of course, you got all the other issues of like the way that they're bred, the way that they're sprayed with glyphosate and all that other stuff. But you know, like a bird has a beak, you know, and a bird can crush open those things and separate the wheat from the chaff and get to the stuff out of it, whereas humans had to crush it between stones, you know. So if you had to crush it between stones, does that mean you were designed to eat it? I mean, think about it.
Right.
No, you know, what can your teeth process, you know?
Right.
What can you catch with your hands or your tools that you make? So yeah, so whatever God or nature provided, you can pick an apple off a tree. You can send your hunting dogs into the brush to flush out some geese, you know, and shoot them down. But you can't send your hunting dogs into the brush to flush out Snickers bars. You know, you know, so did man make it or did nature provide it? Right off the bat, you know, if you just start eating what nature makes available and eliminate what man has made, you're already off to a good start. You're like 90% there. For a lot of people, that's the only change they would have to make, you know. So some of us are sicker, have other immune conditions, react bad to plants, anti-nutrients, you know, toxins, things like that. We got to take it that step further. But most people, if they just ate a proper human diet, they'd be just fine, you know. And so that's the way I'll try and word it. It's just eat whatever God or nature provided. God didn't make Snickers bars.
Right.
Nope.
I agree.
That's one thing when I had my interview with Dave Mack last Thursday, when I told him about my faith, and I said at the very, very beginning of time, before the fall, before sin, I believe that every species was plant-based, but we also didn't have poison. We didn't have death. We didn't have nothing. But when the fall and the sin happened, everything changed. The plants got its defense mechanisms. Most of the other animals, we either went domesticated or wild, and we had become hunters and gatherers. And then I also told him, you know, the first recorded murder in the Bible, which is Cain and Abel, I just kind of did it in modern terms. You know, Abel, he was a rancher and then you had Cain, he was a crop farmer, and Abel wanted to bring his prime ribeye steaks to offer God, and here comes Cain with his roasted ear soys and all that, and Abel's offering was more favored by God than Cain's. That's why Cain killed Abel in the story. There's where we are meant to eat carnivore. And then even after the flood, at the same time, they talk the flood, all is good to eat. But if you look over time, even recorded, people had leprosy, there were sick, stuff like that. So the ones that thrive did good on meat. You can see who had the sicknesses and the diseases through time.
Yeah, actually, one of my future videos is actually going to be reconciling the carnivore diet with Scripture.
Yay.
That's going to be one of my future videos, and because I think there's a certain amount of importance of, obviously the Bible changes lives for the better. Okay. And I've seen, people turn their lives around by reading it and applying it. And, but then you've got some of the carnivore propaganda will actually be dismissive of that. And so, someone who's, kind of on the fence reading them both might get confused. So I'm going to come up with a video that tries to find ways that a person could reconcile the two. That's one of my future video projects. So I'm a little, it's clear that people could eat meat after the flood. Not so clear whether people ate meat before the flood. It's the common thinking is no. But then, like, you can unearth a dinosaur with another dinosaur in its stomach. So you got to reconcile that in there too. So anyway, I'm going to put it all together, and that's going to be one of my videos coming up.
Well, there's a guy that comes in, his name, I think, is Paul, and he comes into the Dante Ferrigno hangout on Sundays. And he's writing a book about the priests in the Old Testament, how God instructed them to eat meat every single day of their life. That's what they ate every single day. The Levites, the priests.
Right. Yeah. The Levitical priesthood under the Mosaic law. Yeah. No, I mean, worship back in BC in ancient Israelite times was, that was that says that the smoke never stopped burning in the altar.
Right.
I mean, like constantly, all day long, it's animals being brought in and sacrificed. So these vegetarians are like, oh, I have a video about Jesus was not a vegetarian, and man, people slaughter me online for it. The vegans come in and they hate on it, and it's like, do you guys not read the Scripture? Like, it was, you had for thousands of years, 24/7, 365, animals being slaughtered and burned on the altar. That you want to know what God's view of animals is, read that.
Right. And then he's writing a book how we are called kings and priests in the New Testament. As a born again Christians, we become a priest, and so he's somehow tying the priesthood of the Old Testament as in our position now, in the New Testament, in the New Covenant. So I'm really excited about seeing him finishing that book, because I'm going to read that like right away. And so maybe if you check it out and check out, what God meant when he really meant to us to be kings and priests in the New Testament. Once we accept the Lord, that's what we become. So, and then tie it up to the Old Testament. The way he did it is amazing. He's writing the book. He's in his
So I get that. So everything that you had in the Old Testament, the old system of worship, actually has a parallel in the new system of worship in the new covenant. Okay. Right. So I completely agree with that. You won't be able to weave carnivore in there though. And the reason for that is because, remember Paul said that, if someone had a sensitive conscience about you eating meat, then don't eat it around them. And in fact, he would said, I would never eat meat again if it meant not stumbling a brother.
Okay.
So all the dietary rules from the Mosaic law were actually done away with. And there are those, that's why you can eat pork now and shrimp, whereas you couldn't if you lived before Christ, So yeah, but I do eat what you're saying about originally Israel was told that they would be a kingdom of or a nation of kings and priests. They burnt those bridges, unfortunately, and so now that offer is extended to the Christian congregation. So
yeah.
That is accurate. So
Well, I'm going to tell you something, you guys. I ate butter today by itself. I've never ever eaten butter before, and I never thought I could. Today I was biting into a butter stick, but I had to salt it. And it really tasted good. It didn't taste bad at all. So that was my goal to do.
Yeah, I like butter. So butter will help kill my hunger pangs. If I want to wait a couple more hours before having a meal, a tablespoon of butter will help take care of that.
Do you put salt on it?
My butter's already salted.
Yeah, I put extra salt.
Yeah.
So, all right, Helen, shut up now.
And then I've made butter bites, which are pretty good too. And I throw a little stevia in there to sweeten it up.
Okay.
Then it's really like candy. Jemette asks, Rick, is Russ off tomorrow?
As far as I know, there won't be a keto cookout because he's going to have that thing in Ohio. I think he's getting ready for the get-together over there.
I know there's an Ohio get-together on the 23rd. I'm going to that one.
Right. He's going to be there, and I think he's taking a week off to visit somebody. So I don't think he's going to be around tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, well, when you said he wasn't coming on tomorrow for an Ohio thing, my first thought was, oh, what am I missing? But I'm going to the Healing Humanity meetup on Saturday, the 23rd.
Oh,
in
man.
In Columbus, Ohio.
You're lucky to get there. I love the meetup. Oh, my word. It was heavenly. It was absolutely heavenly. Oh.
This will be my first one, and
oh man,
I want to attend a couple because then I want to start organizing them here in northeastern Ohio / northwestern Pennsylvania, because you never see one around here.
They're not here either.
Yeah. Rodney says that I was part of the Zoom meetings, and this is far better. Okay, I'm glad you feel that way.
Good.
Because some of the participants that used to come on for the Zoom meetings have yet to come on for a live. And I kind of knew it. There's some people that they liked the Zoom meetings because there was at least a feeling of privacy, whereas this is public. You don't know who's watching, and then it's saved on my channel, so people don't watch this, forever and ever and ever. So I know some people don't like that. They're more private people. They don't want to be publicly on video. On the other hand, if you are a small YouTuber that's not quite comfortable being on camera yet, joining us here on screen is a perfect way to break the ice and get used to it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Jemette says, Helen, love your kitty angel meow.
Yes. He's sitting out there.
All right, y'all have a good evening, and I'll catch y'all later.
Oh yeah, you too, Kelly. You were trying to escape a while ago, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. I got interested in listening to Helen, and I'm like, I gotta listen some more. So I'm gonna sign off now. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
All right.
All right. Take care. That's funny. I was like, oh yeah, he said goodbye like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, I started a YouTube channel about 2.5 months ago. It's not professional or anything. I just barely learned how to do thumbnails and write something on it. So, but I'm just trying to do all I can to get more people. And I pray for the people that watch my videos, because I just want people to know there is a way out of misery. There is a way out. Just try it. So I'm hoping more and more people would, watch it.
Mm-hmm. And Pharaoh Grandma says, "Good message, Helen."
Oh, good.
And
Thank-
Rodney says, "Amen, Helen. Come join our group where I'm a moderator with over 26,000 members called Carnivores for Christ."
Yay!
Kelly, I'll have to look up your Dave Mack video. Yeah, Rodney, just where's that hosted at? What platform? That might help. Or do you just type that in Google and you'll find it? There might be only one Carnivores for Christ group out there.
Is that one on Facebook? Because I belong to that one.
Rodney, if you're still there, answer that question. Last night's 700 pounds and counting live on the Carnivore Cures YouTube channel was mostly about this topic.
Wow.
Yeah, so there goes. So there's Sunday. I don't want to do Sunday because you had Carnivore Cure, and then I know Rock and Keto Amy's doing Sundays.
Right.
Earlier Monday, Dr. Barry. Tuesday, there's some. Wednesday, I like to do Dr. Barry. Thursday is my religious meetings, so I'm not available. Friday, I think it's like Steak and Butter Gal, and then Saturday, is Rick like for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I just keep this Monday night time slot for now. Actually, I'm thinking about, so this is like the roundtable discussion where like I let anybody come on. I am thinking about doing a live or live/interviews on another day of the week. So I've done one interview, and that was for Jeff, and it was a recorded interview. And then I've done a couple other recorded interviews with people who, after editing it, they did not like it. And then I've talked to some other people who feel like they would be more comfortable actually doing their interview live instead of recorded, which I thought was weird because I thought if someone was camera shy, they'd maybe like it the other way. That way we can edit it, and if they had a brain freeze or something like that. But I've had a lot of people say that they would rather do an interview live than recorded. Rick, what's your take on that?
Well, I think it depends on the person. I've
Yeah.
done both. I've done the live interviews and the recorded interviews. I don't have a preference, but I'm pretty much the same everywhere I get interviewed.
Yeah. So I'm going to hit you up eventually, and I'll probably hit you up too, Helen,
All right.
and I was just trying to get a feel for like what people seem to like, so the benefit of recording it is like, if you're the type of person that likes to work off an outline or take notes and wants me to edit out all your uhs and ums and brain freezes, we can do that. So it'll flow. That is a lot of work on my end. Obviously a lot less work is to do it live. And the benefit of that is it's fresh, it's spontaneous. You can speak contemporaneously, and we can also have live viewers in the chat that could ask questions of you also. Therefore, you're kind of not only being interviewed by me, you're also kind of being interviewed by the audience who may be watching at that time. So that kind of makes it maybe a little more interactive too. So yeah. So yeah. What would you like, a recorded interview or a live interview if you were going to be interviewed?
I just feel like wherever I could tell my story, wherever I could show what God is doing, what Carnivore is doing for me, I don't care. As long as just put me out there. I just want to reach as many people as I can, honestly. So recorded or live, whatever, it's fine.
Bob, please debunk the evolution fantasy on your scripture video. You can use the very first verse in the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So yeah, I could do that. Well, I'm trying to appeal to like two audiences. That's why I said that the idea is, reconciling, so, I don't want to come across with a completely religious laden video that says this is why we should all be carnivores, because you can't do that. Because just like, Kelly said earlier, like he believes back in the beginning, all creation, I mean, he's talking about even lions and bears ate vegetation. Okay. So, you can use scripture to argue that nobody ate meat before the fall, or nobody ate meat before Noah. You can also use it to prove the other way, so like I don't want to get dogmatic, alienate half my audience that believes one thing and doesn't believe the other. And I don't want to be dogmatic where I alienate those that are here to learn about health and nutrition that don't want really to be subject to that anyway. So the video is really for people who, they're a believer, but then they see all this carnivore information and they hear all this carnivore stuff, and then mentally they're conflicted. I have a way to reconcile the two. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. So that's the video that I have mostly scripted. I just need to record. So
if you want to destroy the evolution theory, think about entropy. That's the secret. That is the one thing that cannot be disproven. Everything tends towards greater disorder. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use the Bible to prove the Bible. That's just like, what's the point? You don't know who wrote that, and you don't know what they put in it or taken out of it, but it's simple science. Any idiot can figure out that evolution is impossible. Natural selection is designed in, but to evolve to a higher level is impossible. You can't go from a lower to a higher, whether it's energy, life form, or whatever. It's impossible. They've never been able to prove that it can be done. If that was the case, scientists would be able to turn non-life into living matter, which they cannot do, and they will never be able to do.
And and they've been trying and trying and trying, and they can't seem to do it.
And that's with intelligent design. It has to be random. In order for evolution to take place, it has to happen randomly. And even with their great minds, they still can't do it. And
right.
That's it.
And that's a good point. So even if they were able to create life in a lab, it still took intelligent design to do it.
That is correct. So that would disprove the evolution theory right from the beginning.
Right. Pharaoh Grandma says, Bob, God is not wasteful. Now tell me what Adam and Eve wore when driven from the garden. So, so most English Bibles will say that they were clothed in skins.
Yep.
And so there you go. There's something that's actually a point that's going to be brought up in the video. So like you can't, so hold on. If God provided skins, are you going to tell me that no further killing of animals took place until after the flood? No, that doesn't begin to make sense. So, a lot of thinking points there. The point is there's some ambiguity there, and there's some things that the Bible just doesn't go into detail about.
Oh,
and if you believe in a future where you were going to be able to meet a lot of these people from the ancient past, then make sure you're there to ask them.
Well, think about this. In the Garden of Eden, there was a tree called the Tree of Life and another one called the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Bad. What was the Tree of Life? Well, it doesn't exist anymore, does it? So even if they were eating nothing but fruit, what kind of fruit were they actually eating? There was stuff there that we don't have. So once they were driven out of the garden, wouldn't they have to eat animals to make up for whatever they weren't getting from the Tree of Life?
I'm convinced that the Tree of Life grew hamburgers.
Well, there you go. And it could be. I mean, think about it. If you take this literally, and God made a Garden of Eden that was designed just for humans, wouldn't he have given them the perfect food sources? Just like when the Israelites were in exile, what did he provide them? He dropped protein powder from the heavens. So it's logical.
Yeah.
So
Anthony Norris says, hi from Dover, Ohio. But hey, I'm 50 minutes to your north, by the way. I've done some jobs down in Dover. So welcome, Anthony. Glad to see a fellow Ohioan. And then Rodney makes the comment, Isaac asked Esau to go out in the field and get him some of that savory meat that he loved. That is true. It's a lot of people enjoy their savory meat in the Bible. So
fatty meats are mentioned specifically.
Yeah. Dr. Kiltz is spiritual, talks a lot about gods. Yeah, he'll be a he, she. He even says that we're gods. He's kind of
he's mixed up. He's totally mixed up.
He's kind of out there a bit.
He's New Age. New
So,
age thinking.
yeah. So
There's only
I'll talk to him I'll talk to him about carnivore, but you know, and mindfulness is fine too. But yeah, his thinking about spirituality is kind of like it's all his own thinking, you know. So
I think he's trying to draw everybody else into it too. He had that kind of idea like you did, you know, with the
yeah,
I think he's
he's
trying
trying to appeal to a large audience. Yeah, he doesn't want to like alienate anybody.
exactly, yeah.
The opposite of me.
But one thing I wanted to tell you though, once you put a verse there, like let's say you take the evolution out and you put in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Those words are literally living words. They are spirit. They have life. When a person read those or hear them, they don't just go away. They stick in their mind. They stick in their soul. And that's why it says there's another verse that says, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing from the word of God. So when you put those verses or words in there, those once a person see them or hear them, they will not return void. They will do some kind of work in that soul, in that spirit. So don't get shy of like saying, oh, I'm not going to put this because I might alienate this person or that person. You could put some stuff, you know, but putting the word of God in there, it doesn't do any harm. If anything, it draws more people to God. So
Right.
that's 2 cents.
So I do. But I personally make a practice of keeping my spirituality and beliefs. I don't push them on social media or electronically. I do face to face, you know, but I don't online. So that's my personal, you know, that's just my personal thing is, you know, I've had when people kind of get that way with me, I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, okay, you know, but you know, so that's just what I want to do. Like in real life, I preach. Okay. On Facebook, I don't preach. You know, I just don't think that's the play, because when you do it electronically, it turns into a typing war. Someone says something back, you got to respond back. You respond back. I'm not going to do that. You want to have a conversation with me? Pick up the phone.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, that's kind of the way I am. So yeah, I usually try my best to avoid talking about spiritual things online, or when I do, I'm going to speak in generalities, so as to not, you know, because people might say things that I don't believe and disagree with. You know, I have a different. I read scriptures, and so I might subscribe to a different doctrine, but I'm not going to sit here and, you know, if you come on and you want to express your faith, that's fine, absolutely. You know, I'm glad people are spiritually minded, you know, but I don't feel like correcting anybody online, especially in a public medium like this, you know, or on Facebook or something like that. I just stay away from it. So that's why when I say, you know, here, okay, let me put it this way. I don't believe in evolution. All right. I want to be very clear, but if you listen to the carnivore doctors and you listen to those who do, they make a solid case for it. It's persuasive, convincing, and a lot of people actually lose their faith due to it. A lot of people grow up in religious families and religious homes, very spiritual, participate in church 1-2 days a week, summer camps, all this stuff. They go off to college and then they leave the faith, you know, because they were given higher education. Not that higher education is wrong, but they are subjected to a lot of propaganda and a lot of this other thinking, and they believe it, and so they stop being a believer. Okay, that really happens, you know, and so the point of my video is basically for that person, you know, for the person who's they're spiritual, but now they're listening to all this carnivore stuff, and it's making sense to them, and now what happens is they have a conflict in their head. Or some people call it there's a phrase for it. It's a psychology phrase. Cognitive dissonance. Okay. So some people start having cognitive dissonance because they've believed this one way, but now they're reading all this material, why the carnivore diet works. Oh, you were designed to eat meat, you weren't designed to eat plants. That's complete conflict with the scriptures. Okay. So how does one reconcile that? So that's what I want to address. Here's how you reconcile it so you can feel good about eating this way and still at the same time hold on to your cherished beliefs. That's what I'm at. That's the video that I'm making. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to do that, and that's why I use the word reconcile. So if you keep hearing this and it sounds like it could be true, but it conflicts with this, well, let's take a step back. Could this really mean this? And could this over here actually be interpreted differently? And it's going to be like a multiple choice. So here's, it could be A, could be B, could be C. These are some ways that you can try and reconcile the two. However you choose to reconcile them is going to be up to you. You might not like my reconcile option A and my reconciliation option B, but you might like the sound of my reconciliation option C. I just want to put some options out there, and so one can be comfortable and not have that cognitive dissonance, and they can enjoy their carnivore diet and their health journey, and at the same time remain a believer and all the benefits that come because there's benefits that come with both. Obviously, you would obviously agree. You're all for carnivore and you're all for Jesus. You recognize there's benefits to both, but there's also, information coming from both sides that doesn't quite jive. And for some people that gives them that, they're uncomfortable. So the video that I'm coming up with is designed to try and help smooth that over for some people so they stop feeling uncomfortable. That'd be the best way I can summarize what I'm trying to do. So, so it's not designed. I'm not going to make a video to preach. I kind of dream about starting another channel where I speak more openly about religious topics. And I even jokingly say I'm going to call it According to Bob. Just like you have according to Matthew, according to Mark, according to Luke, according to John. My YouTube channels will be called According to Bob. And that would be a very religious oriented channel, but I haven't done it yet. But I want to keep that separate for the most part from the carnivore and the coaching stuff that I'm working on, So so I don't that's just me. I want to keep them separate. I don't want to try and meddle together. So yep. Let's see here. Amy says, I will do an interview on your channel if you do one on mine. Deal. Fair trade. I'm all about fair trade. Foxy Joe. My doctor just gave me my numbers last week. Total cholesterol 214. Triglycerides is 359. HDL is 32. And LDL is 119. All right. So we'd have to know a little bit more about your diet. Have you recently changed your diet? And if so, how long? What kind is it is? Are your trigs right now trend a little higher than the mainstream desires and even the carnivores desire? And but depending on what you're doing, that still might come down over time. And or if you have a kidney condition like me, or some other conditions, usually if the triglycerides don't come down with a keto diet, there's usually an underlying issue that's causing that. All right. Live is good. 6 6 more months now on strict 6 months now on strict carnivore. Okay. So
Woohoo.
Foxy Joe, did you test your labs before starting carnivore? So you have a baseline to compare it to? I'm just curious. And but keep doing what you're doing, So just by comparison, my triglycerides were in the 700s for years because of my kidney disease. And then when I went carnivore and they shot up to 2,887.
Wow.
The reason is because triglycerides is fat. And so like the fat on your body is stored solid triglyceride. And as that dissolves from around your visceral organs and your belly and your gut, it dissolves and goes into your bloodstream to be used for energy. And so if you have a lot of weight to lose, an initial bump in triglycerides is actually not that uncommon. After your weight stable for about 6 months, all your lipids return to baseline or what your new baseline will be. The reason mine went up was because of my chronic kidney disease. I spill things in my urine that my kidneys are supposed to retain. So I spill protein. And I also spill the enzyme called lipoprotein lipase that the body makes that breaks down triglycerides for energy. And so my triglycerides live longer than a normal person's. And so my body would need energy. I had triglycerides in my blood that couldn't be broke down because I like the enzyme. So my body would dissolve more out of my stomach and that would increase it in my blood. And it was a domino effect on my triglycerides. As I lost more, the more weight I lost, the more higher my triglycerides went. I've been weight stable now for a year and a half, and those triglycerides have come down because now I've allowed time for the process to catch up. So for some people, it's a thyroid. For some people, it's a liver. I would say just keep doing what you're doing with strict carnivore, and then might want to check some other labs to, check your thyroid, check your liver, check your kidney function, and see if we can't narrow down what the cause of the high triglycerides might be.
And really listening to your body. How do you feel? That's one thing I keep trying to tell people. Just listen to your body. Like when you wake up, like in the morning, I sit down and I listen. I feel so peaceful. That this feeling I didn't know existed for years. I would get up in the morning and I would just be like aching and not knowing what is the next part that's going to hurt, and my mind would be so bogged down. It's just like it was so not peaceful inside my skin. A lot of times, with doctors, they say, oh, you have this test and you have this number and you have that. Just listen to your body. I promise your body's willing to talk back to you and tell you how you feel. So I'm like, okay, this is what the doctor said. This is what the numbers are saying. I always put it aside and I try to just listen and see what's going on. Like my headaches are gone. I used to have migraines, my jaw pains, my ear pains, neck. I mean, every part, like I was telling somebody, like if you were to slice me, like every 3 inches from top of my head to the bottom of my foot, there's something wrong. Like on my head, I had the headaches. In my eyes, I had the blurry vision. In my nose, I had all these sinus infections in my ears. In my neck, I had the thyroid. In my teeth, in my mouth, I had all the teeth and the jaw pains. In my neck, I had all these muscles that were horrible, achy, and like they were so tight. I would have my daughters literally put their elbows in those muscles just to loosen them. My back, all my back had problems. It's just like every part of my body, like my kidneys, I had kidney stone. My gallbladder, I had dysfunction. I had to be in the hospital so many times. My hiatal hernia, my esophagus, I had GERD, the most horrible, what is it called?
Acid reflux.
Acid reflux. Yes. I literally could not sleep for nights after nights. I would get up and I would lean over like this over my counter because there was like a whole brick sitting in the middle of my chest. Just like All of that is gone. And then it's like, if I go to the doctor's, like, oh, your numbers is this and this and this and this and that. So I'm going to go believe them. You know what I mean? I just won't. It's just something inside of me says, no, I believe what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. So
Yeah, and I can concur with that too. Like, when I went carnivore and I lost all that weight, and I reversed ulcerative colitis, I reversed my brain fog, my blood pressure initially went down, and I no longer had bleeding gums. I was no longer lethargic, but I had energy, sustained energy throughout the day. I would no longer fall asleep at the wheel halfway through the
Yep.
day. And there's a zillion things that were like positive, but then I saw this high triglyceride number, and my doctor's telling me that I need to go vegetarian, eat oats. And I'm just like, something's not right here. That I had all these benefits.
Yep.
And I got this one marker that kind of went out of whack. And so I'm just not gonna, and then I talked to other carnivores too. Like every carnivore doctor. That's why I signed up for Dr. Berry. I talked to Dr. Berry directly, talked to Dr. Kiltz, talked to other carnivores, and people who do keto and carnivore, normally their triglycerides drop like a rock. They had triglycerides of like 200 and it drops down to 35, and mine went the other direction. And then I had to deal with well, you're probably lying to us. You're probably sneaking candy. You're probably not being pure. And I'm like, no, I was seriously being pure and fasting. And I got accused of lying and all this stuff. And so I had to start doing some research. And so that's why I have a video on high triglycerides now, is because I had to do research and found out what the problem was for me. Oh, look. Hey, there's Kurt.
Yeah.
Hey. So you were in and out earlier, like you were having a bad connection.
Oh, well, I'll leave it at that. Bad connection. Okay. You didn't read my text.
Oh, did you text me? I'm sorry. My phone's on mute, so it wouldn't make a sound.
And the other thing is, 6 months is still too short of time. You know what I mean? I think it's not a time. You need to be with some people, like my conditions. I had so many of them. I'm into carnivore for 16 months now, and I still see different changes. And my body, I know it's healing. I know there's always so much healing work happening in my body, and I can feel it. And so I think there's going to be more and more work in my body, trying to, fix itself and heal itself and regulate my hormones and whatever. And it's going to take at least 4 or 5 years, or maybe even more. It just depends, I know whenever I eat something that I'm not supposed to, it immediately shows on me, like yogurt, which I love yogurt. It's just immediately the next morning I get congested and headaches because my body's still not healed. The leaky gut that I had, it was horrible. It's going to take years for my intestines to heal. So I think 6 months is, it's not enough for some of us. If you had a lot of health problems, to say, why is this, just stay on it, take your time, and be consistent, and just, there's nothing better to do than carnivore. Absolutely nothing that's going to heal you.
So how you doing, Kurt?
I mean, fantastic. In-laws came in first time in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
It barely got any sleep last night. Woke up to 60 pounds of ground or brisket to grind before I go to work tomorrow, before I have surgery Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I still got my final grind to do.
So the injury I said that I had, is that the exact same injury you sustained?
I mean, it sounds familiar. It's the tendon from the elbow.
Yeah. So
it snapped up. Yeah.
So I gotta, if you see, there's a gulf right here because it detached and it rolled up.
Yep.
I never had mine fixed. Yeah.
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 I figure this, I really don't care to have surgery, but if I can milk this, getting paid good money and getting workman's comp and etc., then yeah.
Yeah. Well, no,
I'll
get
milk
it. If you're in a position to get it fixed, get it fixed. I didn't have any insurance, so I couldn't afford it, so I just dealt with it. So,
Right.
So yeah, I would recommend getting. I have a friend who did, but he did one arm and then he got that fixed, and like 2 weeks later he did the other arm, and then he had to go get that fixed. He had both of them laid up for a while. So, all right.
I'll tell you what, if he's working for the automotive industry and the UAW, he's got it made.
and you know what he was? He's a mechanic at Ford. So
there you go.
Yeah. Rodney asks, my wife Vanessa wants to know if your wife was doing carnivore before she had her surgery. Mine is basically low carb. So mine is no. My wife will occasionally clean up her eating. But then she's one of those that likes to eat. If she wants a sweet, she's gonna have a sweet, So she'll get in the habit of having some sweets, then she'll kind of clean things up and try and eat all natural. When she tries to do the meat and fruit thing, and but like if the company's offering lunch, and she'll have whatever the company provides or something like that. So, or she'll have a dessert once in a while if she wants it. So, well, that's okay. She can do what she wants. So, I just can't. That's the thing. But she's really good too, though, because she's good about So we were at Applebee's the other day, and my son didn't like his chicken parmesan. So I'm like, well, pass me the chicken. She's like, I don't want that to hurt your kidneys. There's bread on that. So she's really good about that. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna scrape it off. I'm not gonna eat the bread. I'm gonna scrape as much of that bread off as I can. I was just probably a little bit got in my mouth, but I wasn't too worried about it. But I'm gonna scrape it off, make sure I don't get as much of that as possible. But she's really good. She's very, very supportive. She'll eat whatever. But if she sees me reach for anything that's not carnivore food, she's like, I don't want you eating that. I got to keep you around. I have to outlive you. That's what she says. You got to outlive me. She wants me. She wants to go before I go. So.
The good thing about my my thing here is I got some news to share. I might have a new convert because my mother-in-law has been for years not wanting my dad to eat lamb, goat, and beef because of the, God forbid, high in cholesterol. And it's like they got in last night and we took them out to a restaurant and they're like, aren't you going to eat? And I said, I ate last night. Well, you can have some of this. I said, no, I'm good. If we get home too late, I'll just wait until tomorrow night. And well, how can you do that? And I was like, because it's my diet, my lifestyle. I don't need to eat every night. If I go without, I'm not going to starve to death. And today, I made a roast in the slow cooker. And I told my dad that, this is what you're going to be eating while you're here. You can have as much steak, goat, lamb, whatever you want. I'll buy it. You'll eat it. The less outside food you have, the better. And my mom's like, no, he can't eat that. I said, why? She said, because of the cholesterol. I said, okay, well, tell me that, because I've been eating like this for a year. I've got bad heart. I'm feeling better than ever. Mm-hmm. You remember how I used to not be able to walk? How my health was, and look at me now. I'm thriving. So why would you want to deprive Dad? Just give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad's all in. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I bet he's all in. I'm gonna stay here in the States. Boom.
I don't care. I'll continue to support him. I don't care. The bad thing today, I woke up today. Well, I showed him the freezer last night full of meat, and I said, "This is all yours. You can have whatever you want." And I woke up today with I grinding my brisket. I got my first grind done. No, I was getting ready to grind it, and I have to freeze the grinder part that attaches to the motor. And I usually freeze that for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, so it doesn't melt the fat. And I came out to the freezer to put it in there, and the light didn't come on. I'm like, oh my God, no, what's going on? And I changed plugs, and it still didn't work. I had to have the landlord come out, and it was something to do with the GFI, with the receptacle. The one in my parents' bathroom went out, which is the other end of the house. And I didn't know it. That one receptacle. So they put like the garage, 2 receptacles on the same circuit as the garage, or the two receptacles in the garage on the same circuit as the bathroom on the other end of the house. So I'm like, okay. So as long as we got it fixed, we got a freezer, I'm happy. So I didn't want to lose that 60 pounds.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I was talking about buying a portion of a cow again, but I'd want to get a freezer and probably a backup generator. And because I had a freezer one time, and I bought a quarter cow, and I wasn't carnivore then, so we slowly, nursed away at the freezer meat. And I remember one time I went out to the garage, and I'm like, man, something died in here. And I had that happen before. I've had like a possum get in there and crawl in a bucket, couldn't get out, So I'm looking at buckets and stuff, and I'm like, man, where's that coming from? And I go over to the freezer. I open up the freezer, and I'm like, oh, gross. And so the freezer had stopped working, and I don't know when. It was atrocious. Slam that lid back down, and that whole garage stunk. I had to get a mask, like the mask that's got the filters on each side. It's got like a mask, like gloves and stuff, and I had to throw all that stuff in the trash, and my trash can stunk. I took the freezer out to the driveway, sprayed it out, and all the juices went in the driveway, and the driveway stunk.
Oh.
Drug the thing down to the curb. And the scrapper comes along, and he's like, "Oh, are you just throwing that away?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can have it." But I told him, I was like, it died, and there was a bunch of rotted meat in there. And he's like, "Oh, I don't care." And then he's trying to load that thing in the back of his truck by himself because it's heavy. And I wasn't going down there. He's yelling back up at the house. He's like, "Man, this thing stinks." I'm like, So I haven't bought meat in that kind of bulk in years, but I need to get another freezer, and then I want to come up with a backup plan. And I think now that I'm a carnivore, I'd probably be opening it every day. So I would probably know if it died now, whereas before I could go weeks without opening it.
Here's my recommendation, because we stored our meat down in the basement where my wife works.
Mm-hmm.
And the freezer, well, the whole fridge freezer went out. And that's where we stored the bulk of our meat. And she didn't know it because, like you, we barely opened it. So I told her, I'm getting an upright. It's going to be in the garage, and there's no questions asked, because I will take care. I will be out here and make sure this thing is running. I will know if it's not running. And I'm tired of bending over and trying to dig through stuff, because we had a 5.5 foot cubic foot. It's just not big enough. It's good for a backup, but for the bulk of meat that I was looking at getting, doing when I was starting carnivore, we had to get a 21 cubic foot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my recommendation. Get an upright if you're going to get one.
Okay. Yeah.
And buy it around the holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes I actually, now that I think about it, an upright one I'd probably like better, because I had a chest freezer before, and yeah, you never reach down to the bottom of that thing. All right, Helen is always smiling on her videos. There's a comment here. Here's one from Sharon. Check out Todd Bachnes live from last night on his thoughts on the Bible, the fall, repentance, free will. It was amazing.
It was great. I was there yesterday. I could not stop. It's like I had to stay in the whole thing. It was great.
Yeah. Sharon also asks, where are those carbs coming from, or were your trigs even higher before? And so, like, this is kind of an example. It's like, so like, this is, people would say this to me too. When my triglycerides went from 700 up to 2,887, that's what everybody said. Like, dude, you have to be eating carbs. Carbs raise trigs, not fat, not protein. And it's like, that was actually not the case. It was because of my kidneys and spilling that enzyme. That's why my triglycerides went up. That's why I had to make a video on it, because nobody had a video covering the subject. So I had to do the research and show it. So yeah, so I that's the initial reaction, because in general that's true. In general that's true. You cut out the carbs, your trigs go down. So if your trigs are going up, the assumption is that you're eating carbs. And that would, in 97% of circumstances, that would be a fair assumption. But there is that small percentage of people whose trigs skyrocket or go up or stay high, and it has nothing to do with carbohydrates whatsoever. I'm going to eat the fruit of the tree of life in the new Jerusalem when God creates the new heaven and the new earth. I pray for Kiltz's eyes to open. I talked to AI about mindfulness. You know, it's not sentience, but it was interesting. I don't talk to AI. I think AI is overhyped. It's a glorified search engine, is what it is. So it takes search results, puts them into like common speech. That's all it really does. Aside for the ones that can actually write code for you, but you know, I'm on a couple other boards, like religious boards. They're like, oh, well, I asked this question to ChatGTP. I don't care. I don't care what ChatGPT says. You know what ChatGTP is just going to tell you what the majority of search results tell you.
Right.
Because that's where it gets its info.
Right.
It just summarizes everything.
Yeah.
Well, friends,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take off and go for my walk. I do my walks morning and evenings.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming here. It was
Thank
fun.
you for joining us. We'll be back here next Monday.
All right. I'll try to remember.
All right.
All right. Have a wonderful night.
care.
You too. Bye.
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 So, hey, Rick,
Hey.
you ignored
So-
my calls, my 10 or 20 calls the other day, but that's okay. I'm joking.
Calls? What calls?
I was joking.
Oh.
So what transpired? What did I miss tonight? Because like I said, I got my in-laws here. I got another grind to do, so I'm just like taking a break in between, catching breaths.
I talked about biogas.
Yeah, Rick talked about biogas. We talked about, I shared a study that talked about how you can use a carnivore diet to treat schizophrenia and put it in remission. And
Cool.
yeah, I thought it was cool. I like studies, that stuff like that. I like the details. So I shared a little bit about that. And we had a good crew. We had up to 8 at one point, as far as guests go. And but yeah, no, it was a typical Monday conversation. You know, we covered a variety of topics. So we have fig leaves were before they were driven out. Then God taught them to kill and made their coats of skins. Well, we know they made skins. We don't know that God taught them to kill. So we're inferring that, but there's actually nothing that actually says that. And this is why I don't like to talk about religion online, because, like, you know, just me saying that right there could offend somebody, but it's true, you know.
Bob, anytime anybody opens their mouth and provides their opinion, their thoughts, or their advice can offend anyone anytime. And I'm over it. So
well, I don't see any reason to go out of my way to offend people, so I try not to. So, yeah.
I can do it without trying.
Cognitive dissonance is the psychological discomfort experienced when holding two or more conflicting beliefs, ideas, or values. Yes, exactly. So here's a question. Did you get your wife a latte today? Actually, I did not. I did Saturday and Sunday. And today I just got up and went to work. And
Good boy.
yeah. So I was just like, yeah, I got to go. See ya. Do you have everything you need? Because she's kind of stuck on the couch. You got everything you need? We're okay because we're out of here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because she had surgery. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she had surgery. So, Bob, so does Dante, so does Bill Knott, and so does Todd. Their hearts have all been led to do something like that to share their faith. Okay, so yeah, so like I love sharing my faith. I just personally don't believe in doing that online. So, not in a public sphere. Okay. So like if someone sends me a private message and asks a question, sure, I'm happy to respond, but I'm not going to get on Facebook or go to a website and just start
Professing.
This is what I believe. I'm right, you're wrong. You better change your way. I mean, I did that when I was young and a little more naive. And when the internet was new, and like, I was a debater. I was a keyboard warrior. I loved coming home from work, open it up, going to religious forum, and I'm just like, I do that all night long. Waste of time. Didn't convince anybody of anything. So I just don't do it anymore. So yeah. I've made 0 converts online. I've made tons of converts face to face. So there are so where am I going to spend my energies for certain subjects? Carnivore is different. A lot of people will listen to Carnivore online, but then when I try and talk to people face to face, nobody listens. So it's kind of the opposite. Like I talk about religion online, nobody will listen. But if I talk to someone about religion, someone face to face, I'll get a listening ear. So it's kind of interesting that they're the opposite that way. And so because of those results, those observances, that's the way I conduct myself. And all right. Let's see here. A painting can't paint itself. A building can't build itself. How much more so can creation create itself? So, and yeah, that's the big argument right there. You take something as complex as the universe is, spinning in perfect order, and say that, and when it was all caused by some random explosion. Random explosions don't produce organization. So
that's it. You don't need faith when you have facts.
All right. Let's see here. I'm 4.5 months in and praying my little sister give it a try. She's very resistant while health declines. Yeah. And that's the same way. You often hear me refer to a friend that's got multiple sclerosis. Like, same thing. Like, you should really give this a try. Nah. Potato chips, prescription meds. They don't want to give it a try. It can be really difficult when and it's not that carnivore is going to fix everything. That'd be foolish to believe, but considering most diseases are metabolic diseases and most metabolic diseases can be fixed by diet, carnivore can actually cure a heck of a lot.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Right.
You have to lead by example. And if the person hasn't seen the changes in you, then it's going to be a little more difficult. So the closer, if the person sees, like this where you're discussing this person here, your younger sibling, if they see the positive changes in you, it's better for you just to show them. You don't have to throw it in their face, show them. Let them look from the outside and see what's happening with you, your physical, your mental, and your abilities improving, what have you. And that's all you can do. That's the best you can hope for, because pushing it, shoving it in their face, it's just going to make them not want to do it even more.
Sharon says, I'm sorry, Nicole. It's hard to watch when you know you could help. Pray for her. And then Rockin' Keto Amy says, Kurt, praying for you, my friend. So does Jamette. Yeah. So, yeah, your surgery is 4 days away.
Yep.
Yeah. You'll be fine. That'll be outpatient.
Hey, I'm hedging bets on how if I'm going to need painkillers or not. I got a Army Ranger, no, airborne. Sorry, he's airborne. He's had elbow surgery, shoulder surgery, and he says I'd rather be shot than have the elbow surgery because it hurts like crazy. So I'm hedging bets. Anybody wanted to take some odds, some decent odds?
I know. When I tore mine, I got a doctor to give me some painkillers because my whole arm was black, and I had to do like exercises. I wore it in a sling, but every day I had to do this and extend it, and then bring it back in a couple times a day because he said if I had to do that or my arm would seize in this position, So yeah, so there are therapies to do.
You know what's funny? Okay, well, you can bet on me not needing painkillers, because my arm was black and blue from the wrist all the way up to the under my arm.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't stop me. Hasn't stopped me. So I'm just, yeah. You can put your money on it. I'm going to take the painkillers, but I'm not going to ingest them.
Yeah, I was so mine was at my son's kindergarten graduation party. So that was, I don't know, 13 years ago or something. And I was horsing around with my father-in-law, and I came up behind him and I put an arm behind his knee and the other one by his back, and I was going to pick him up. He was a skinny kind of guy. And I was going to pick him up off his feet when he was least expecting it. So I went to pick him up. And then what he did is he felt himself go off balance. So he planted his foot down, which went against me the way I was trying to lift. And I just heard this. And I was like, oh, I could hear it. I'm like, ooh, something. I was like, something bad just happened. And my arm started to hurt. And I'm like, and then I started to sweat from like the shock.
Yeah.
And I went behind another building to look, and I looked down at my arm and I could see like the tendon moving around like a snake under the skin. And I'm like, cool. That's no good. And I just put my arm back. I just put my arm back like that. And I held onto my shirt for the rest of the kindergarten graduation party because I was hosting, so I had to keep things going.
Right.
And then the next day I called the doctor and went to the doctor, and they said that I'd torn it. They said they think it was a partial tear because you can still feel a little bit of tendon here. But it might only be attached to my arm muscle. It might not be attached to the bone anymore. And but yeah, I didn't have insurance, so I was like, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. So because maybe I should have done it anyway. But when you don't have insurance, you're just like, oh, what am I gonna do?
No, yeah, I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you don't have insurance, you're hurting because things are crazy expensive these days.
I honestly do not want to take a statin. Remember, statins aren't used for triglycerides, so don't worry about it. I'm not taking a statin either. So,
well, I wouldn't say don't worry about it, but
so I have to scroll back up and see what his LDL was, but his trigs are kind of high.
Here's the deal with the statin. It's not for triglycerides. It's for the cholesterol. My cholesterol was at 500. And when I started carnivore, it's come down, and they still push the statin. I refuse to take it because I noticed the effects that, I don't have the leg pains anymore. I can get up and down stairs, and it's a waste of money for me. Why do I want to put some man-made chemical crap in my body? And I got 10 different side effects from it, and it's messing my stomach biome up, my gut biome. So I'm not gonna be able to process the food that I need for nutrition to heal my body properly. So what would I rather have? Would I rather have a steak, put $10, $20 into a steak, or spend $5 a pill for something that's not really going to save my life? I'll go for the steak.
And then there's other things you can do first too, like there's the CAC score. You can get a ultrasound on your carotid arteries in your neck. I mean, you can if you run a few tests and you see that there's no calcium or plaque buildup, then the LDL is truly pointless. The statin is truly pointless.
So you're saying if there's any buildup, then this statin could be warranted?
Probably not on a carnivore diet, because the benefit that you might get from it is they are known for reducing inflammation, but you can eliminate or reduce your inflammation with a proper diet. So if you're not going to change your diet, like if you're just going to keep eating the standard American diet and your body's inflamed, then yeah, maybe take a statin to keep the inflammation down,
Well,
so
that's like telling
you
a
know-
heroin user, I'm gonna, you can go ahead and OD, and we'll just hit you with Narcan. It's
that's kind of one of the things that we were talking about all night here, Kurt, too, was we were talking a lot about GLP-1s. Like a lot of people will take GLP-1s, and when they get off of it, they gain all the weight back, or they take GLP-1s and they lose muscle mass because they're not eating enough protein. They take GLP-1s, but they never learn to eat right. So when the insurance stops paying for it, or they go off of it, then they blow up bigger than they were before because they've lost muscle mass, reduced their basal metabolic rate, and they never learned how to eat right. So they're still eating all that junk, and so it's the same thing, if you're eating that standard American diet, there's people out there like, that's what the doctors say. Like, oh, we'll just take a statin. There's people that believe that. It's just the same people that will believe like, oh, you can keep eating what you want. Just take a GLP-1. Just take Ozempic. Keep doing what you're doing.
See, that's a thing, Bob. It's not a matter of these people don't have the education. The material is out there. It's the information is out there. It's what you do with it. Okay,
Yeah.
I can give you a book on how to make it $1 million. But if you take and throw that book in your furnace, it's going to keep you warm for about an hour. Maybe, it's not going to make you $1 million.
Right. So the question is like, when would you do a statin? So, some of the doctors I trust, they'll take a low dose one just for its anti-inflammatory properties, and that's their choice, So, and, but I'm not experienced. I check my inflammation markers, from time to time. And since I've started a carnivore diet, my inflammation markers are pristine, so why would I take a statin?
Why would anybody listen to? Here's my take on it, because I've made a post on my channel about it. But yeah, it was a little short and snide and vulgar. But my thing is, why would you trust a doctor when they say they have your better interest in mind, and they're still pushing a statin, they're still pushing these other drugs, and it's they're trying to cover their own backside so they have a job. We have doctors such as Sean Baker and Dr. Barry that have
both of them would prescribe a statin under the right circumstances.
Okay, but what I'm getting at is they're the ones that were a part of that system that said enough is enough. They care more about their patient's health, that they decided to step out of that system. And if more doctors would do this and educate themselves, because I mean they went to school to practice medicine, but the medicine starts in the gut by what you eat. And it's that simple. It's not rocket science. You don't have to pay the exorbitant amount of fees, scholastic fees, to get the education you need to practice functional medicine. I'm any doctor that I see, just like the doctor the cardiologist that released me from my surgery. I keep him in my back pocket in case I need to get released for something else. That's it. Any appointments, future appointments, I cancel. I don't need them. My regular doctor, he's like he's a good doctor. He wants to become a functional medicine doctor, but he's still doing what pays the bills, which is great. But he will say, okay, what are you doing? He'll ask me, he'll ask me what I'm eating and how everything. And he says, your blood work looks great. I do need to recommend a statin, Kurt. And I'll tell him no. Okay, well, just remember, I recommended it. And then he writes it down. He listens to me.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike these other doctors who think they're God and they know everything about health. That's what my take on doctors.
Oh, it's good that you got one that will listen to you. So, but like like Barry and Baker, are good examples. So, like
Yep.
So Dr. Barry, he has a video out on statins, why these are no bueno, okay, and they're overprescribed, okay, and but he will at the same time, admit that he might prescribe one for someone who has already suffered a previous heart attack because they are statistically shown to benefit that person, but they're not just designed to benefit anybody with an LDL that's over 100. That's absolutely ridiculous, and so that's just one example of you can't just jump in here into any conversation and blanketly say statins are bad all the time. They wouldn't exist if that was the case. Are they abused, misused, overprescribed? Are they a profit-making machine for the pharmaceutical industry? Oh, yes, and yes. And but if Dr. Barry says, well, listen, you've had this is your situation, and that's an example of here's someone who doesn't want to change their diet, and they've already had a heart attack. And they got inflammatory markers through the roof. What can I do? Okay, well, the number one, you should clean up your eating habits, stop shoveling crap in your mouth, But I tried that and I can't help it. All right, well, here's statin. Will it help? It might. It's shown to help some, not shown to help others, But if you're not willing, this is all you're willing to do, this is all I can do,
Right.
So there's that kind of doctor, but then there's most doctors which do fall in line with the image of the doctor that you just painted, and that's like my doctor, statin over 100 equals, or LDL over 100 equals take statin now. Do as I say, don't ask any questions, and it's like, no, we're not going to go down that route,
Well, both you and Rick know about the cardiologist. You heard.
Yeah.
I have never been to a cardiologist.
Mm-hmm.
But you've heard my conversation with the cardiologist.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was a joke.
Cranky Carnivore says he keeps a second fridge and an upright freezer in the garage.
There you go.
Dear wife and I, whoever goes to bed last, checks it to make sure it's working. All right. Yeah, I like the idea of the upright freezer, man. I was thinking of another chest freezer, but yeah, an upright freezer would be so much nicer.
Chest freezer is only something you want to keep if you're hunting.
Yeah. Let's see here. It's 11:30, so it's about time for me to wrap up. So let me go through some of the last comments here. Bob, tell your wife we care and hopes for a speedy recovery. Yeah, she'll be okay. She's six weeks off of work, and she'll be fine. We're gonna go. In fact, in another little over a week, we're gonna go to a concert. So she'll be. They're her favorite band, so she intends to be just fine when at concerts. Let's see here. Rick, I'm on my TV screen listening and watching you guys. I could swear you look like the Fonz.
I've heard that several times.
Oh, okay. So check this out. I'll find this and share it. Someone shared this with me the other day. Apparently, this was a character on Seinfeld. Came up to me and showed me this, and I was blown away.
Doppelganger?
Yeah, a doppelganger. Oh, hold on. I'm being asked to allow ads. Okay, so let me share the screen. This is wild. I'm trying to zoom in.
Milton.
This cracks me up. So this was a character on Seinfeld. Share screen. And I couldn't believe this.
Oh crap.
Yeah. I was like, so I got to face the other way. I saw that. Oh my gosh. And then I watched the video clip, and it's my mannerisms, and it doesn't sound like me. All right, really, it's a different voice, but it's my mannerisms and everything. I couldn't believe it. It's like that is the best doppelganger anyone's ever showed me.
When I was out in California after I got out of the service, somebody had seen me. I was sitting with a couple of friends. We were having dinner, and somebody came up to me and called me by another name, and I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" And they's like, "You don't remember me?" And they just started bringing up different things. I'm like, I have no clue who you are. And they pulled out a photo of another guy in the Navy uniform, but when I had my picture taken, I was in my whites, dressed whites. He was in his dress blues. Looked exactly like me. The weirdest thing is we went in at the same time. I was supposed to go to Florida and go to my A school was for construction mechanic, so I was going to become a CB. And this guy that he was referring to, his friend, he thought he had found, went to Florida, his A school. He was a construction mechanic. The same time I went in. That was crazy. Looked exactly like me.
They say we all have a doppelganger out there. Uh-oh.
We'll find Rex.
Not me.
Rick disagrees. If we
How
won't
could
find
you
it.
ever find anybody that looks like me? 6'6"? No, ain't happening.
Oh, well, I'm not talking about the same height, but so anybody, there we go. There's our new mission. Find Rick's doppelganger. We want to see it. Rodney says, Bob used to be a Bible basher. Are you saying you used to be? Because I know I wasn't. I never was, unless you're just being facetious here. With the GLP-1 agonists, there's also bone loss. I didn't know. I
Yep.
don't read much about these things, so I
Yep.
wouldn't know. But I've never heard anything positive about it from people I care to listen to. Like I obviously hear positive things from celebrities all the time, but makes it sound like this stuff's a miracle. And I think Frank is talking about his statin here. Cardiologist I went to wrote a script for 80 milligrams daily in aspirin. I taken that as a statin, maybe. Only for 1 week. My God, I'll never forget the aches and my thighs, and I haven't taken any since. Makes me wonder. Yeah, so a lot of people experience all kinds of aches and pains from statins. So there's a lot of people have horrible side effects from it.
Isn't it strange how I've never had aches or pains?
If we know more about you, the answer is no. It's not strange at all. So, and I don't anymore.
I work physically too. That's the amazing thing.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, the side effects. And then I'm afraid to take any medication now because it seems like anytime I take a prescription medication, my kidneys take a dump. So I'm kind of like done with them. Done with it. Good one, Mike Moffat. Yeah, that's what his name was. The character's name was. So I actually looked up the actor, and I don't really look like the actor. It just happens to be in that particular night, and that's from the 90s. But he's been in like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like that. I've seen him, and so from the Adams, Rick is Lurch from the Adams family.
You rang.
All right. Okay, folks, that's the end of the chat, and I'm gonna go downstairs and probably watch a vlog with my wife. She's staying up late now, so she doesn't have to work. So
I'm going to
then
bed.
I'm gonna go get some shut eye. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for who we got left. We still have 27 people. We were in the 40s for a while there. That was good. Maybe even 50. I think we might have 50 at one point too. It was impressive.
Got the same amount of viewers that I do.
Yeah, that's good. And we got a lot of guests coming over from the Kiltz's coaching program. I invited them because I'm part of that class. And so some of them came over to watch, and that's nice. So remember, we do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. This roundtable-like discussion. Anybody can get on the screen between now and then. I'm sure I'll see you in coaching class. I'll see you on Kilt's Mighty Tribe. I'll see you on Carnivore Talk. I'll probably see you on Rick's channel on
Live at 8 with Rick
on Saturday. And go subscribe to Meathead also. He's uploaded a couple shorts, and he's working on getting enough subscribers so you can go live. Same thing with Darth Carnivore. We posted his link there earlier too. And so yeah, do the right thing and support one another, especially us smaller channels, and anybody who wants to swap interviews, I'm game. Okay. And I'm hearing ducks now, which means I need to go to bed.
That's it.
I'm hallucinating. I hear ducks. So good night, everybody. I'm going to end
Good night.
Stay on if you like. I'm going to end the stream in 3, 2, 1, and bye.